we lost Mr. Deen Dayal, who's a driver, very sincere and hardworking. And yesterday we lost two faculty members. One is a senior professor, retired Professor Padmavati, a very dynamic person from the Department of Women's Studies, and a very young staff member, Dr. Sunita from the Department of Statistics. She's an assistant professor on contract, a very hardworking girl. So I really pray Almighty gives strength to the family members. I request all of you to raise and maintain silence for 2 minutes to pay respect to the departed souls. Thank you. On behalf of Campus Synergy, I extend a very warm welcome to our own respected Vice Chancellor, Professor Jamuna Duguru, and our Registrar, Professor D. Mamata. And on behalf of Sri Padmavati Mahila Viswavidyalaya, I extend a very warm welcome to IACT, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, Chairperson Vijay Saigaru, the Vice Chairperson Ram Kumar, and another Vice Chairperson C.N. Rao Garu, and our keynote speaker, Rama Bijapurkar, and other resource person and the panelists, the faculty, PhD scholars and students. A very warm welcome. We have a little background to this activity. We have a Women ICT Frontier Initiative. That is a center established by UN-APCICT, which is the Asian Pacific Training Center for Communication and Technology for Development. The objective of Wi-Fi is to promote entrepreneurship through ICT. So they launched this program in 12 nations, and in India, SPMVV is the identified center to promote Wi-Fi in the country. So we want the Wi-Fi team conducts a lot of entrepreneurship programs throughout the year, including for the rural women. So we thought this year we want to celebrate the Girls in ICT Day, the International Girls in ICT Day. This is again a global initiative backed by International Telecommunication Union, which is again a specialized agency of United Nations. So the objective of this global initiative, the International Girls in ICT Day, is to empower and encourage the girls and women to take up the studies and careers in the information communication technology. So we thought Wi-Fi is also promoting ICT in the field of entrepreneurship. We will celebrate this International Girls in ICT Day, which is launched by the ITU. This was launched in 2011. Since 2011, I think there are about 3.7 lakh of girls and women have participated in 11,000 celebrations in 170 countries across the world. So we are so happy that we're celebrating this event, a very important event to promote the girls to participate more and more in the information technology field. So when I briefed Mr. Ramkumar Garu about this endeavor, he immediately connected us with the Wi-Fi team, with the Vijay Sai Garu and the Vice Chairman, and he identified the champions, experts of entrepreneurs and the management consultants. He bring in all of them together on the same platform in a very short span of time, I think a week time. So this is a joint venture, and the objective is to connect our students with the experts of management and the entrepreneurs to increase the passion, enhance the skills, enhance the capacity of our students. We know that women are the drivers of economic development. But then women entrepreneurs. But I only believe that if they are unable to identify their own rights to continue their passion, I think they'll be successful entrepreneurs. So this is all about the today webinar, and I'm sure the resource persons in the next 2 days will strengthen the message that women can become the successful entrepreneurs. With this brief background, I request Suri Kumar Garu, our CEO, Technology Business Incubator, to brief about the campus synergy objectives. Thank you, Mr. Suri.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam, Sri Ram Kumar Garu, Vijay Sai Garu, and Rama Vijayapurkar, Madam, Kavita Chennai Garu, Purnachandra Rao Garu, Srikanth Garu, Sridevi Madam, and CN Rao Garu, Registrar Mamta Madam, all the other Vijayalakshmi Madam, and other organizers of this program, and all the participants of this program. Good afternoon to all of you once again. I thank Vijayalakshmi Madam for having given me the opportunity to speak a few words on the campus synergy initiative that is taken by Vice Chancellor Madam recently. In our campus, in our university, a lot of emphasis is given on innovation, incubation, entrepreneurship. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor Madam, she was very particular that we should give a lot of focus on innovation and entrepreneurship to keep in line with the various activities that are going on across the country and the globe. So in our university, we had around 9 centers earlier, and now 10th one added recently, which are all working on innovation, entrepreneurship independently in their own pockets. So our Vice Chancellor Madam felt in order to have a synergy across all these centers, she felt that if we integrate all these centers, we'll have a lot of synergy to promote innovation and entrepreneurship. So keeping this in mind, she recently formed a SPMVV, that's our Sri Padmavati Mahila Viswavidyalaya campus synergy on innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurship, under which we have the at present we have totally 10 centers in this campus synergy group. The first one is we have a society called as the SPMVV Society for Innovation, Incubation, and Entrepreneurship. We have a society, registered society. So under this society, now we have 3 incubators: the Technology Business Incubator, funded by DST, the Women Biotech Incubation Facility funded by DBT, and the Livelihood Business Incubator, which we recently got the approval from the government. And then in addition, we have the Women ICT Frontier Initiative, which is conducting this program, we call as a Wi-Fi. Then we have a TEP Outreach Cluster Innovation Center, where the funding comes from the DSR to promote innovation and to make prototypes. And then we have a Curie AI Center, again funded by DST. And then we have the Institutional Innovation Council, which takes care of the innovation activities guided by MHRD. And then we have a Rural Women Technology Park. And then we have a Placement and Career Counseling Cell, and then Skill Development Center. So all the 10 centers, they are brought under one umbrella to have a synergy, so that we have the focus on innovation, entrepreneurship increases, and collectively as a team, we can do much better job of innovation and entrepreneurship. And the main objectives of this group has been to integrate all the centers and have energy to have synergy to promote innovation, entrepreneurship, to facilitate development of an entrepreneurial ecosystem in our university campus, to promote activities related to intellectual property management and technology licensing, thus enabling creation of a robust innovation and startup ecosystem in our university, to improve the visibility of these centers across the country, to promote network learning in order to generate more innovative ideas. I think this program will help us a lot in achieving this objective. And then to contribute to economic and social development by taking up new missions while preserving our own sustainability. So we recently formed this group, and we plan to do more and more activities under this campus synergy group, so that a lot of innovation and entrepreneurship activities they prosper in our university campus. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Suri Kumar Garu. I now request Vice Chancellor. Before I requesting her, I would like to say a few. Kumar, can you? I'm unable to move the screen. Uma, can you? Yeah, thank you. I would like to introduce our Vice Chancellor. She is a professor of psychology in the Department of Psychology, Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati. She has 40 years of research and 30 years of teaching experience. 30 years of teaching experience. She conducted several national international research projects, around 21, and is a prolific writer, edited 15 books and published more than 100 scientific articles in national and international journals. For her outstanding research and in the field of genetology, she received many awards both at national and international level. She was a recipient of AJ Tilak Award. She is Sandozo Foundations of Genetology Research Award from Switzerland. She received United Nations Population Fund Award from International Institute of Aging, Malta, and AP State Best Teacher Award and Faculty Award from Canada. And she's also received Visiting Genetologist Award from Canada. She's a visiting scientist at Metropolitan Institute of Genetology, Tokyo, Japan. And she's also a recipient of Senior Fulbright Award. And she's a professor and Commonwealth Fellow at Salford University. And she is served on national, international, professional associations on various capacity. I request our Vice Chancellor to deliver her inaugural message. And she's a great source of inspiration for all our academic activities on campus. I welcome you, ma'am. We can't hear you, ma'am.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a minute. Yeah, very good afternoon and namaste to everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, it's audible, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's audible,
ma'am. It's audible.
Yeah.
We can hear your voice, ma'am, very clearly.
Yes, can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Good afternoon and namaste to everyone. Registrar of SPMVV, Deans of Constituent Colleges, members of the organizing committee, distinguished faculty members, invited speakers, today's keynote speaker, and other invited speakers for tomorrow's session, and dear participants. I'm very happy to know that as part of 2021 Girls in ICT Day celebrations, Sri Padmavati Mahila University, UN Wi-Fi Thought Center, and Indo-American Chamber of Commerce of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana are joined together to organize this two-day webinar on ICT and Entrepreneurship Education at universities, opportunities and challenges for women. Yes, of course, this webinar assumes significance because women entrepreneurship can help in promoting the cause of economic inclusion of women in the mainstream development of the country. Before I say something on the theme, let me briefly say something about our universities for those who are participating in this webinar apart from SPMVV faculty and students. As you all know, SPMVV is 38 years old, growing very strong with its mandatory activities of teaching, training, research, outreach activities, continuously with a motto to promote women's emancipation and empowerment of women through acquisition of knowledge and train the women to be economically productive and independent. Currently, we have 6,400 plus students on campus and off campus across 58 postgraduate and undergraduate courses in 4 schools, namely sciences, social sciences, humanities and management, engineering, and nursing. SPMVV caters to the higher educational needs of girl students in both Telugu-speaking countries, states, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and also there are students representing the other states in India. We have strong doctoral programs for national and international students. The university is recognized with NAAC-A for its strengths in research, academics, and non-curricular activities over the years. And as far as NIRF ranking, pharmacy stands at 42nd band, and the university is in between 152 to 200 band level. And recently we secured international certification from ISO and secured 8 in the World Education Ranking, gold in the IGOT, and we are standing, very, very strong in many other ranking parameters. Well, with our strong faculty, trained faculty, we are very good in R&D funding from various national funding agencies like DBT, DST, UGC, ICMR, ICSSR, and so on and so forth. And we are also strong in intra-departmental research activities and inter-institutional research activities. Apart from this academic and research activities, as the CEO, Mr. Suryakumar, rightly said right now, the university has, a society called SPMVV Society for IIE, which is providing a good ecosystem for innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurial activities for women in specific and girl students. Currently, as I mentioned, the 2 incubators are very active, TBI and Women Biotechnology Incubators. And recently, a month back, another incubator was added, that is Livelihood Incubator. And we are awaiting to have one more very shortly. Altogether, I'm confident in saying we have 4 incubators on campus. Along with the, with these, parallelly, we have, as you mentioned, departmental, certain departments have, very strong funding for, innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurship programs, especially like, the TOSIS, that is STEP program, Rural Women Technology Program, Wi-Fi, and also AI Center, and some of them are very, very strong in their innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurship activities. And all these, as you mentioned rightly, there is a campus synergy which catered to the needs of this innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurial activities for girl students on campus. And so the objective of this synergy is to encourage innovative ideas, transform those ideas into business ideas, and also encourage startups, providing hand-holding for potential incubators. I'm very happy to state at this juncture that a couple of days back, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh announced, after identifying 5 important, very prominent universities in the state for further development and to make them as institute of national importance and institute of national eminence. So I'm proud to say SPMVV is one among the 5 institutions. And it added much more responsibility on us, because we need to rededicate ourselves in many directions to nurture teaching, research, and especially this innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurship activities. So we believe that we need to dedicate more resources to create and nurture creativity, curiosity, and entrepreneurial environment for our students. In line with the NEP 2020, certainly there should be a shift from theoretical spoon-feeding, pass-oriented certification to our education to more entrepreneurial educational training. And we at the university, we have modified our curriculum based on these NEP guidelines, which will focus more on skill development and entrepreneurial opportunities for our girl students. And as you all agree with me, in recent years, higher education institutions, both at central and state, have laid more emphasis on benefits of entrepreneurial focused education at the universities, encouraging to create ecosystem for our students to transform their innovative ideas and research outputs into business, enterprising activities. Yes, universities can play a very significant role in the growth of startups. So we at SPMVV, we are trying our level best to make, to move in this direction. As you know, I need not tell for this group, entrepreneurs are integral part of the national economy. Thus, there is a dire need to not only to create an ecosystem for IIE at higher educational institutions, and also plan to develop certain concrete plans to develop entrepreneurial oriented education to foster progressive ideas, establishing mentoring pools to equip students with practical training and skill oriented training towards entrepreneurship development, and also by establishing entrepreneurship development cells and opportunities to support potential incubators for nurturing startups. And as I mentioned, this is more so in schools like engineering and management sciences. The current reports suggest that, the national reports suggest that some faculty members, especially in IITs and in some central universities and state universities, they are growing very strong in this startup culture. independently by themselves, or in association with the students, or in association with the colleagues in the institutions. This is a very remarkable trend in the recent times. And also there is a strong, growing trend, positive trend, where more and more incubators are supported by the central funding agencies.
I think there is a network issue.
Madam, kindly unmute.
Yeah. I'm sorry. There is a problem in my, Yes. So, just let me repeat. Within this backdrop, I'm sure that this two-day webinar will be very, very enriching for the participants, and it will, enlighten the participants to come up and, to go with the new ideas after, participating in this seminar. In this webinar, I'm sure there will be an opportunities. There will be an opportunity to create, certain, kinds of, what can I say, avenues for students, young budding students, to, take further this entrepreneurial, activities. So I wish you a great experience in the webinar. Thank you, Dr. Vijayalakshmi. I just want to mention on this occasion, I congratulate Dr. Vijayalakshmi to think about this topic at this pandemic, period, to plan, this event for 2 days to make our campus more vibrant and lively. Congratulations, Professor Vijayalakshmi. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inaugural message. And I'm sure what you said is a formal training definitely helps the student to enhance the skills. I now request Mr. Vijay Sai Meka, the chairman, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana branch, to deliver his special address. Before that, I would like to introduce Mr. Vijay Sai Meka. He is a managing director, S&S Green Projects. He is a pioneer in implementing green building initiatives. He's an engineer and with over 20 years of experience in construction and real estate. He's also the Executive Vice President of Telangana Real Estate Developers Association. A very interesting initiative by Mr. Vijay Sai. I went into their website also, BRED. As a Joint Vice President of BRED, he is actively involved in the establishing the libraries in government schools, which is very interesting. So he is associated with the Basic Research Education and Development Society. So they're working in government schools, and currently is the chairperson of IACC. So I welcome you, sir, to deliver your address.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone at this critical juncture are staying well, happy and healthy. On behalf of IACC, we wish to offer our deep condolences for the demise of your faculty members in the last few days. So the pandemic is very severe, I think, in both the states of Andhra Pradesh. So it is important for every one of us to take care of us, because government cannot be there everywhere, government cannot do everything. A very good afternoon for honorable speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to this important webinar on IST and entrepreneurship education at universities. opportunities and challenges for women on behalf of IACC. I'm also chairman of IGBC Amravati chapter. In view of the importance of sustainability, a session was dedicated to explain opportunities in green concepts. We will actually get in touch again through that association for active participation. I hope you are, as you said, staying safe and healthy through these difficult times. We wish to thank Sri Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, especially Vice Chancellor Professor Vijayalakshmi Garu, Suryakumar Garu, Professor Mamta Garu, and other active and dynamic team for the association, and congratulate them for coming up with this important subject, which is the need of the hour. So we saw that energy in all your team members when we actually interacted earlier. So this is very quite unheard in so many other government institutions, where though we are going there, actually the encouragement is very poor. I also wish to thank Rama Bijapurkar Garu, Mrs. Kavita Shanai, and other speakers on behalf of IACC for their participation in view of the difficult times. Due to disruptions in business operations caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, the implementation and adaptation of IST in business at all levels is inevitable for all sectors and all segments across the globe. You can say sky is the limit. I'm glad to know that so many initiatives like TBI, WPIF, LBI, Wi-Fi, IAC, etc. are implemented in SPMVV, because all these different initiatives, I think, will suit for the betterment of students pursuing their education in your university. I'm also happy to know that your university also achieved NACA certification, which is another unique and important achievement. So coming back, every entrepreneur should know technical skills and able to synthesize them in such a way that he or she can drive business to greater success. In present scenario, all companies are working remotely, and ICT is heart of the remote management. Right? ICT also helps in employment generation. To be a successful entrepreneur, every entrepreneur needs patience, persuasion, and self-confidence. So without self-confidence, you cannot reach your objectives or goals. This will not actually teach at the institution. You have to actually self-learn and be self-confident about your ability to perform in the most difficult environment outside. Money is not anymore deterrent to pursue your objectives. If you study some of the very successful entrepreneurs who come up very recently in the last 10 years, their investment, we can say, is purely zero, totally zero. What they actually conceived is they are confident enough about their idea, and they put it to use and convince the investors to actually support them and to encourage them whenever they need funds. I think hundreds of crores are actually waiting for the entrepreneurs who are coming out with innovative ideas. Another important aspect is you should be able to present yourselves to the investors and convince him about the marketability of your idea or invention. So this is very important. First, you should study your invention and actually also study its feasibility or marketability in the outside competitive environment. The outside world is very competitive, and you should be able to grab the available opportunities. Many a times you will not be able to meet the investor second time if you are not able to impress him in the first given opportunity. So you have to be prepared, fully prepared. Suppose if you are a team, all of you should be prepared and present your actually proposal in to convince the investor, because if the investor is not convinced, you may not get any second opportunity, because these investors were approached globally because of the present environment. all these investors were approached globally from thousands of students. Students are entrepreneurs. So you have to be shrewd and be confident and study your proposal in depth in all aspects. Also, identify a mentor and take his advice whenever you need support or advice. This is very important because you will be studying so many motivational stories, motivational speeches. So you can identify actually whomever you like him and start actually following him. In fact, if you're not able to meet personally your mentor like Ekalavya, you can follow his footsteps and actually study how actually he come up, what is his background, what are the speed breakers he overcome, what are the difficulties he faced, how actually he overcome in the given environment or situation. Women entrepreneurs are important contributors to Indian economy. At the same time, institutional and systematic barriers as well as socio-cultural norms and practices are creating problems for women entrepreneurs. But remember, we have produced world leaders from India who are leading actually global companies also. They are women entrepreneurs who rose to the highest position in the most difficult corporate competitive environment. So these are all actually, don't feel them as barriers. As long as you are confident, you can reach any level. You can also head some of the corporate companies. I think Indra, you know her. She actually, in the most difficult environment, she reached the top in her corporate company. ICT can help to overcome some of them, like finding business collaboration from different countries without traveling, working from any location, to access online skill and training for business sector, etc. Though actually this pandemic is affecting us economically, globally, the economy is suffering, but it also shows another way of actually reaching the potential investors because of the webinars. We never heard actually conducting webinars sitting from our own place so comfortably. We will be saving a lot of time, lot of traveling time. So many expenses also we can cut down, but still we can actually reach our objective. You can reach anyone through these webinars. Nowadays, because of these webinars, actually so many students who cannot spend money are learning so many skills and they're actually growing up. We all know that in order to compete in global competitive environment, highly skilled and educated workforce with aptitude and skill set in application of ICT is inevitable for every nation. Therefore, ICT and entrepreneurship education by universities is really significant. Of course, the Indian government has been encouraging entrepreneurship and innovation, especially for women entrepreneurs. As the chairman of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, IACC, AP, and TS, I would like to say a few words about the chamber and its constant focus on bilateral relations. IACC wish to support and engage with SPMVV in future to bridge the gap of industry connectivity. Most of the times, actually, the ideas will stay back and the students will feel a barrier. They don't know how to actually present and reach the potential investors. So IICC wish to bridge that gap and provide the industry connectivity for the entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs. I request the team to identify the best 5 innovative ideas which need support and funding. We'll try to get this support from IACC members, which will be helpful for the students to pursue their innovation or business model. From its founding in 1968 through today, IACC has remained a strong voice advocating for increased trade and investment between the United States and India. India and the USA have a long-standing bilateral partnership. Education of Indian students in USA is an important subject. For your information, as per Open Doors Report 2020, Indian students contributed a total of $7.6 billion to US economy in 2019-20, in spite of a dip of 4.4% due to the pandemic. Can you believe how much we are contributing to US? While we are contributing $7.6 billion by our students for US education, were spent by Government of India in all the IITs, IIMs, all the premier institutes together is 4.4 billion. So if we are able to actually bring that money back into India, I think we can create so many world-class institutes in India itself. Of these students, AP and TS contribute a substantial number. More than about 30% of the students studying in US are from both AP and the Telangana states. So hence education and education institutions are key focus areas for Indo-US relations. IACC wishes to enrich this key relationship area to expand into university collaboration between the two countries, exchange of research opportunities, student exchanges. If a university actually have a collaboration with other university in US, the advantage is the students from these universities will become actually local students there, and they will, I think, almost straight away get 50% fees concession, not scholarship. All the students that are going actually from a collaborative university to US, they will get 50% fees concession. Also, most of our students are concentrating on very few universities. In US, there are about 4,000 colleges which are offering different streams to the prospective students from India. So I suggest all of you also, other than the regular actually 10 to 20 student universities where we are focusing on, for the sake of actually reducing your cost of education and for the sake of getting scholarship, also explore the other universities or colleges that were there in private sector, in government sector in US. We welcome pioneer institutions like SPMVV to come forward to collaborate with IACC in fostering higher education in both countries. We have organized a number of events for our members in the last 1 year, which was marked by the lockdown. We also conducted by inviting some educational experts from US. In 30 engineering colleges, I think about 2 years back, we organized seminars in those universities about opportunities in US education. A similar event, if needed, we can also organize for your university also. You can get information on these and various forthcoming events on IACC website, www.iaccindia.com. Finally, I wish to thank our National President, Sri Ponachandra Garu, who supported us whenever actually we approach him with any initiative. He is there for us. He is supporting out and out. And my co-chairs, Ramkumar Garu and CN Rao Garu, who is actually part of this wonderful initiative. Especially this is the brainchild of our my co-chair, Ramkumar Garu, who is energetic. I think once actually an event is decided, he will not allow us to sleep. So morning, evening, we will not say he will bother us, but he will remind us. He will actually see that event is conducted efficiently and effectively. Now, wishing you all a fruitful event, and thank you all for giving us this wonderful opportunity. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay Sai Garu, for your willingness to help our students to connect with industries. That's a very important thing. There is a huge gap. We're all trying to bridge that gap. Thank you so much. And now I invite our registrar, Professor Mamata. She's our young registrar, Dr. Mamata. She's expertise in the areas of biotechnology, molecular biology, gene cloning that applies to sericulture and its allied research areas. She's a Fulbright Fellow and DBT Overseas Young Scientist Fellow. And she successfully completed many major projects funded by DBT, DST, and DBT Indo-US and Indo-EZ. And for her research, again, she received many awards, DBT and UGC International Travel Award and National Academy Summer Fellowship Award from Indian Institute of Science and National Academy Summer Fellow Award from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Sorry, I'm repeating. Lifetime Award as a Fellow of International Society of Ecological Communications, DBT Young Scientist Fellowship Award, and WHO UNICEF Achievement Award from Thailand. I welcome you, Dr. Mamata, to address the participants. Dr. Mamata.
Thank you. Well, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Jamuna Dubur Garu, and today's special speaker, Sri Vijay Sai, Chairman IACC, APM Telangana. This is Kavita Krishna Shinoy, MD, Founder Director, Isha Technologies. Sri Ramkumar Rudrabhatla, Vice Chairman, IACC, Andhra in Telangana. Ms. Rama Bijapurkar, Management Consultant, Hyderabad, and all the special invitees, participants, distinguished professors. A very good afternoon to you all.
Small correction, ma'am. Rama Bijapurkar is a management consultant, reputed management consultant from Mumbai.
Oh, okay. Very good afternoon to you all. Well, on this occasion where our IQAC and SPMV Women ICT Frontier Initiative have come forward to organize this event, let me share my bit of mine on the theme, the very theme that has been selected. Well, the role of women in our society has changed drastically in the past few decades, and for the better. Women are now occupying the corporate positions previously regarded as masculine and are outpacing their male counterparts in some areas. The gender stereotypes, which are more prevalent in the society decades ago, are breaking slowly. But there is still a long way to go. The women who constitute around half of the total, that is 48% of the Indian population, but their participation in their academic activities is only 20%. According to Forbes India, women comprise about 30% of senior corporate management positions in India, which is notably higher than the global average. But when it comes to gender gap in overall workforce, India is one of the worst countries in the world, standing at 130 out of 135 countries. Further, India ranks 29 out of 31 countries in the 2015 Global Women Entrepreneurs Leader Report by ACG. This disparity directly affects countries' economic growth. It was said that women bring a different set of perspectives to problem solving that can enhance the quality of the solution. Women bring a unique set of issues and experiences that can help in decision making, enhancing the quality of the decision that has been taken. Here, let me explain that. Here are some of many reasons why India needs more women entrepreneurs and how it can strengthen us economically, socially, culturally, because women cater to a totally different way or niche than their male counterparts. According to Goldman Sachs report, it states that enabling women, particularly as entrepreneurs, benefits future generations because women tend to spend more on their children's education and health, which should boost productivity as well. Overall, more women entrepreneurs account for improved economic growth and stability within a country. it is already noted that women entrepreneurs can help advance the cause of financial inclusion of women in the country, but only 20% of women in India own a business. It is also assumed that startups are mostly computer-based, and it is essential for universities to connect with the students with their successful business communities for exploring startup opportunities in different fields. Entrepreneurship education aims at bridging this gap between the talent required by the market and the talent that is actually being provided by the higher education. With these objectives in mind, our IQAC and SPMVV UN Wi-Fi jointly organized this webinar to foster progressive ideas and innovation and equip students with the practical knowledge and skills they need to navigate through entrepreneurship journey. I wish these sessions, which are designed to nurture the startups on the campus, addressing and guiding the challenges of the women entrepreneurs, emerging opportunities during and after pandemic, and utilizing the ICT tools for the marketing will definitely lay impact on all the participants and motivate them enough to give to that life to their ideas and also start their independent ventures. I wish all the participants a great success. Finally, I also congratulate the entire team of organizing this event, Professor P. Vijayalakshmi, our CEO, Dr. C.U. Kumar, of the CEO of TBI, the IQAC Director, Professor Uma, and also the members, Professor Usha, for coming forward and organizing this event, making it very beneficial and accessible for all the students during this pandemic time to hone their skills, their entrepreneurial skills. I wish every participant a great success, and I also thank the chairman of IACC, Vijay Sai Garu, for coming forward and offering a support which instills a confidence in the women students a long way. Thank you very much, sir. And I also thank the organizing team for giving me this opportunity, sharing my mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mamata. Thank you for that message. And now I would like to invite Mr. Rama Bijapurkar, a much awaited session. I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Rama Bijapurkar. She's a leading consultant at Mumbai and also professor of management practice at IIM Ahmedabad. She's India's most experienced and prominent independent directors, served on several boards. Some of them are Infosys, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, Titan Industries, National Payments Corporation of India, Humanist India, etc. And a very interesting initiative by her is PRICE. She's also a co-founder and chairperson of People's Research on India's Consumer Economy, called PRICE, an independent and non-profit research center, a think tank and a fact tank. So they engage in the high scholarship research, consumer research, which is used for policy making in the country. And she's also governing council member for Banking Codes and Standards Board of India, Insurance Information Bureau, IIM Ahmedabad. And she authored books from Penguin Sage have published her books, well-known books on consumer India and on business strategy. And most interestingly, she raises her voice in the media on several business and policy issues. She holds BSc Honours degree in physics from Delhi University, and she studied at IIM Ahmedabad. It gives me immense pleasure to invite our keynote speaker, Ms. Rama Bijapurkar. Ma'am, I welcome you to deliver keynote address.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon and namaste to everyone. First of all, thank you, Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, for the privilege of my being here today. I also join you in your grief and your prayers for colleagues who have departed. I think these are terrible times, and I hope we all stay safe. Thank you also to Dr. Ram Rudrabhatla for actually making this connection. Otherwise, I would not have had the privilege of being here. I also come from the state of Andhra Pradesh. The Bijapurkar surname I inherited when I married into it. And so it is a even bigger pleasure for me to be here. I'm here in Hyderabad with my 90-year-old mother. I just told her what I was about to do. And she said, that is such a famous college. What do they want with you? So that is my pleasure indeed entirely today. The topic I have been given today is developing entrepreneurial competencies. And I'm going to share some thoughts with you. I will not use PowerPoint. I have a professor I teach with in Ahmedabad who's my teacher. And he often tells me it has neither power nor point, so please get on with what you have to say. I will share some thoughts with you, and I hope that you will join in conversation with me on a Q&A session after that about what is in your minds rather than just what is in my mind. So I asked myself, what does being entrepreneurial actually mean? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you are audible.
Strange on the screen. Thank you, because I can't see anybody else on the screen. So not to worry. So what does being entrepreneurial actually mean? I think the common definition is you start and run your own business. You know, now everybody calls it doing a startup, and you take it from there. But I think that there is a broader definition. It's a definition to do with mind wiring. I think it's something broader. It is an orientation, and that's the orientation I want to share. It's a way of approaching situations, life situations, work situations. That's the entrepreneurial mindset. ICT can be taught in a university. You have to work on learning it. An entrepreneurial mindset is something you have to understand and work on yourself to be able to deliver. To my mind, it is about not accepting status quo. It is about wanting to change things for the better, not wanting to change for just change, but change for the better. About creating and innovating solutions, the problem solving as we call it, about building and gifting to the world, no matter how small the world is, no matter how small our gift is, something sustainable that can scale, something sustainable that other people can copy, something sustainable that can carry on beyond the life of the entrepreneur, and building organizations that deliver these. India is very good in the early stages of the ideas, but we often don't leave behind sustainable things as we would like to. So inventors have ideas, innovators have ideas that create value, and entrepreneurs actually create the value with these ideas. So I think we're really saying value creation. Now, with this definition, I think it's fairly clear that you can be an entrepreneur in politics, you can be an entrepreneur social worker, you can be an entrepreneur in bureaucracy. Every time I'm part of the NASSCOM Social Innovation Awards, I am just surprised at how many bureaucrats we give awards to, not because they're bureaucrats, but because they do some stunning work. You can be an entrepreneur in policy making, and so on and so forth. And that you can even be an entrepreneur in the way you manage your household and your life. So there are of course well-known business entrepreneurs. There's Infosys, the guys who started Uber and Amazon, we know about them, Ola at home, Apple. So those are the business entrepreneurs. In India, we have a really vibrant breed of people that I want to call out who are social entrepreneurs. Social entrepreneurs build and create organizations that deliver social good. If you look at microfinance institutions like Basics, if you look at institutions like Nanni Kali that educate girl children, if you even look at our leading universities of which you are a part, and colleges, those are actually social entrepreneurs in a sense, right? I have a friend, Kolmira Shenoy, and her social entrepreneurship idea is that she works with differently abled people who are hearing challenged, physically challenged, maybe speaking challenged. She works with companies and maps all the jobs that they can possibly do, because we just assume that you have to be 100% everything in order to be able to do jobs. And then once she's mapped out which jobs, what kinds of differently able people can do or specially able people can do, she then starts creating bridges between the people and companies. Now that is entrepreneurship, the social entrepreneurship kind. There's another thing that's quite well known in Andhra Pradesh. It's called LABS, which is Livelihood Advancement Business Schools. So it is about business schools for people who have not had the opportunity of anywhere, who are just class 10 pass, not had the opportunities that all of you have. So then we also know that there are what we call intrapreneurs, people who work in large organizations, but who have the entrepreneurial spirit. So I'll tell you the story of a friend of mine who works in a company called ITC, which came up with a business called eChopper. You can Google it and you will know. And when the managing committee of the company meets once in 6 months to decide whether to give money to a new idea or not, he had his proposal, and the proposal, they said, no, we're not even going to look at it. We have other things to do. But he basically risked getting shouted at and maybe getting sacked, and sat on, and pursued the chairman at dinner that evening and said to him that here's a document. I just want you to read this document. And if you decide that it's not worth it, that's okay. So the story goes, the chairman, who's no more now, read the document all night. The next morning, he called his executive committee and he said, you know what, we've got to do this. And he told them, I'm giving it to you, sink or sail, make a success or make a failure, but make it happen. So we see a lot of young people as well. You don't have to have gray hair like mine. In fact, entrepreneurship is about young people who have the ideals and the energy, both emotional and intellectual, to want to do good for the world. So it's young people who demonstrate. In fact, when I used to be in Hindustan Lever, we used to call it a K plus I skill. Young people who have the knowledge to be able to come up with better ways of doing things, and the imagination to be able to use that knowledge and convert it into business ideas. So at every level, every stage, the width, the breadth, the height, the entry levels, there is scope for entrepreneurial spirit. And that is really what I am putting out to you to say, yes, you can. So I'm an entrepreneur, I believe. I'm an entrepreneur of ideas. I call myself an evangelist. I try and create new spaces. That's which I then convert into consulting and teaching. Try and create new knowledge, which is what our think tank tries to do. We say that we don't see the Indian economy through households. Let's try and understand better. All my life, I have done startups for other people, with other people, sometimes of my own, and look at new things in big and small companies. And for the last 20 years now, I have worked for myself. And I am constantly scanning the horizon to say, where can I learn and where can I contribute and evangelize your ideas because you believe in them. So what is this entrepreneurial competency that we keep talking about? As I told you, it's not technical knowledge. It's without technical knowledge. When you play, I don't know how many of you play Teen Patti. When you play Teen Patti, the card game, you have to put table stakes on the table. If you don't have it, you can't enter the game. So technical knowledge is like that. You don't have it, you don't enter the game. It is necessary, but it is not necessary and sufficient. You need the mindset and you need the mind orientation. It is something I believe you can practice and you can learn to different degrees. I had a boss who once said to me, I used to have a hard time making decisions. I used to sit and dither. Maybe this, maybe that. And one day he said to me, the only way you can learn to take decisions is to take decisions. So I think the only way to develop the entrepreneurial mindset is to start practicing the entrepreneurial mindset. We can learn to work on ourselves, not to become who we are not, but to imbibe certain qualities our own way. For example, if you look at people who stand firm to their ideas, different people do it in different ways depending on their personalities. I may push and shove and upset people. I have colleagues who persuade a lot better and a lot gentler. Some people do it better in writing. Some people do it face to face. Some are quieter thinkers. Some are more forward, dazzling people. So the question is that how do you imbibe entrepreneurial qualities in a way that fits who you actually are? I think that's the only way to make it happen. So what are these qualities? What are these ways of thinking? Many of the distinguished speakers before me have talked about some of them as well. The first one is dare to dream. There is no need to economize on dreaming. Dreaming is free. But as I tell my clients, an aspiration is not a hallucination. So a dream has got to be a dream that has some substance to it. Women the world over, and more so in India, are not encouraged to dream. I mean, unless you are part of the very, very, very privileged minority. But in order to be entrepreneurial, you have to do something very badly. You have to want more. You have to want to solve problems. You want to find new ways of doing things. It has to come from what I call a dil mange more orientation, not being happy with the status quo. If you want to dream, then you also have to have the determination and the tenacity. You can't dream and find that the stairway to achieving your dream is too high, too many steps, too far, too long. I won't do it. You don't think that way when you climb the Tirupati hills. So I don't see why you should think that way when you want to achieve certain dreams as well. So you have to have a strong motivation to achieve it, determination and some tenacity. Not all of us are born with tenacity, but you can build it. Every time you feel this is too much, I'm going to give it up, I think you should sit down, calm yourself and say, no, can I set smaller milestones? Can I actually get there in smaller stages? You know, is it my monkey mind that's telling me I can't do it? So you have to constantly practice at having determination, tenacity. In the world of business, we evaluate people based on will and skill. People with high skill and no will, some users. People with high will and no skill, again, limited users. You want to be a high will, high skill person. And once you decide that you are going to dream and get there, then be willing to pay the price. Everything in life has a price. You just have to figure out whether the value you're getting is more than the price you're paying. So that's about dreaming and determination. The other thing is that you have to constantly process what you see. Look around the world and see what you see. Do you see more than others? Do you think Kishore Bayani, who's the entrepreneur who set up Big Bazaar and Future Group and so on, he once said to me that it's not seeing what other people don't see, but it's thinking differently about what everyone actually sees. So it is about thinking about what you see constantly. I call them the why not and the how come questions. In my world of business strategy and customer focused business strategy, that's what I teach, that's what I consult on. I'm constantly asking, why not? Why is it that this market has not evolved the way the other market has? Why is it these guys succeeded, but those guys failed? If it's such a simple idea, why did no one think about it before? What was the problem? So it's how come it didn't happen? Why not? And you have to keep asking yourself these questions. This comes also from reading, from being clued into what is going around you. You know, why are primary schools not functioning as well as they should? Why are we creating entrepreneurs who don't actually end up getting third stage funding often? Why do Indians behave, you know, actually succeed better abroad than they do in India sometimes? You know, what's lacking, if anything is lacking? Is that changing? So you have to constantly be the question machine and the answer machine yourself. So when something works, you know, when a market grows, when a company does well, and I sit on the boards of many companies, I always ask, how did it happen? It's not good enough to say things went well, I don't need to know, because things often go well for the wrong reasons. I ask, did it go well because of the way you expected it to go well? Or were you looking London and you suddenly ended up in Tokyo and you said, oh, Tokyo is a very good place to be? So it's why not, how come? You have to, if you ask these questions of everybody around you, they might never invite you to dinner again. But I think if you ask yourself the questions, then you start getting more and more into the spirit of entrepreneurship. So the dare to dream bit is about not accepting status quo. I think the hamare khandan mein aise nahi hota hai, in our homes these things don't happen. I think again, how come, why not, how do I make it happen? You know, I had a boss, another boss once who threw me out of his office. He was the chairman of a very large company. And he said to me, I made a presentation to him that I thought was really good. And he said, Mrs. Bijapurkar, you have told me what is and why it is so. He said, I really don't care. He said, if you can come back and tell me what can be and how to make it so. He said, I'm listening. So he said, please take your presentation and go away. Take another 2 months, think about it, work on it, and come back. To me, that is a guru mantra. I have a daughter who is also in the workforce. And I often tell her that it's not, people are always telling you what is and why it is so. But, that's not very helpful, right? You need to know as a diagnosis, but the real answer is what can be and how to make it so. And I think that if you are going to dare to dream, you should have the resilience when you fall down to get up and try again. Failure is going to happen. You always have to find a plan B. I had a father who, even as his plan A was sinking, would start saying, okay, what's the good that can come out of this? You do a root cause analysis about what went wrong, and you start again. So that's essentially, I think, what the mindset of an entrepreneur is. So to tell you a personal story, recently, as an entrepreneur of ideas, I launched a very different new course at IIM Ahmedabad. It had one module of neuroscience, it had one module of anthropology, it had one module of big data, and it was run in a particular way. And everyone told me that you're smoking dope, you're going to have 3 different faculty members, you don't understand the domain, it won't happen. The first year was okay, we pulled it off. The second year, our students rated the course 7.4 on 10. That's not a good score for us. My colleagues who taught with me, one of them said, Rama, I have never got such a bad score. And I thought about it and I said, I would rather be outside comfort zone. If I stayed in comfort zone, didn't try anything new and got a 9 on 10, I think I would be less happy than getting out of comfort zone, trying something completely new, getting a 7.4. Now I'm ruthlessly analyzing what went wrong. I'm asking students, I'm asking the teaching assistant who assists us. I'm looking at the feedback that they give us. I'm looking at material and I'm trying to see how can we get to a 9. And if we do actually get to a 9, I think we have a really special course that we can actually run, and we've created a valuable new property for the institute and for the students than staying in comfort zone. So get out of comfort zone. At worst, you'll fail, pick yourself up and start again. So be a self-starter, be self-driven. No one's going to tell you what to do. Today, no one has time to tell you what to do. In the world of business, people very quickly divide you up and say self-starter, order taker. Order taker will never get initiative-related tasks. Self-starters will be allowed freedom to do what they want. Similarly, while mentors are important, no one will mentor you if you go back and say, tell me what should I do. I have people saying, I want to do a startup, what startup should I do? And I'm thinking, if you're asking me the question, what startup should I do? You're not ready to be an entrepreneur. What is it that you want to do? So spoon feed me doesn't work, but what mentors love is people who say, I've thought about this far, now I'm stuck here. I've solved this problem as much as I can go, but these are the 4 directions, what do you think? So I think there's also a way to get mentored, and that's again part of being an entrepreneur. So I hope with all this, you get the general idea of what an entrepreneurial mindset is, no matter what line of work you actually choose. And finally, I am going to address the elephant in the room. I think our registrar, Dr. Mamta, also mentioned it a little bit. I think family, society, community in India are a little bit loaded against us women. I'm not saying it's always the case, but I'm saying that it does happen. So you have to navigate that to a win-win solution. The speaker before me mentioned Indira Nui. The quote of Indira's I like best is that her mother said to her that you have to be president of India and get married when you're 19. Now that is pretty much the ethos I was brought up in. You have to be independent, you have to earn your own income, you have to stand on your own feet, and by the way, you have to have a home and 2 kids and everything else that goes with it, and that is your first responsibility. So how do you make choices? I think that's what you have to ask yourself. Everything, according to me, comes at a price. If you don't follow your dreams, and I'm now old enough, and I've traveled with a lot of women of my generation and my vintage. And I know that not following, people who haven't followed dreams also have a price to pay. People who follow dreams also have a price to pay. A successful entrepreneur has a price to pay to keep up with that success. An unsuccessful entrepreneur has a price to pay to manage your self-esteem. So I think you have to talk a lot to yourself, and you have to navigate carefully, and you have to say, how do I create a win-win solution, which is a win for the other party and a win for me? Whenever I'm faced with an either or, my first question is, why can't I have both? What will it take me to have both? And how do I actually figure out, design a solution that gives me both in terms of whatever I want? So I think I will end here, and I will say to you that practice the entrepreneurial orientation every day in your day-to-day life, and it will become a mindset that you will imbibe, which will stand you in good stead, especially in this world that we say is VUCA. It's volatile, it is complex, it is amorphous, it's uncertain. So I think an entrepreneurial mindset will stand you in good stead for everything that you do in life. So good luck, and God bless every one of you, and have wonderful lives, the students who are listening into this. Thank you for that. And if there are any questions, if there is an opportunity for any of that, as we still have some time left, I am happy to answer questions.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation, ma'am. You've given different dimensions of entrepreneurship today. I'm a journalism professor. So you said the administrator, yeah, it was very interesting. Very, very interesting, observation, ma'am. I really loved it. Maybe I will, and apart from this group, ma'am, Zoom link, and about more than 200 students are listening on the YouTube. I invite the students or anyone on this platform to share your queries on the chat box. Leave the questions or anything on the chat box. We also have faculty on this platform. Maybe any one of you can interact with the Professor Rama.
Yeah, ma'am, it's a very interesting, and it's a motivational talk to not only to the students, and also we have students, research scholars and postdoc fellows and the young faculty and all the faculty from Mahila University. It's really motivating and inspiring to everyone at the talk that you have given. As you said, the entrepreneurial skills has to be imbibed, and then we need to have some of the qualities one to become entrepreneur. My observation, ma'am, like as you said, the entrepreneur skills will not be imbibed overnight, so it has to be nurtured. So I feel if it is included, all these the qualities and the characteristics where the students can cultivate right from the schooling onwards, I think we can make really our entrepreneurial qualities among the students and also in the youth, I feel, ma'am.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Even if we can't fix schooling, and whatever schooling we do seems to do very well. I have never known a student, the number you gave about going abroad, I've never known an Indian student to go abroad and do badly. So I say something must be right in our primary and high school education. But I think education such as the one I'm associated with, or like yourselves, I think we can do that. We can do that in every little thing. If there's an assignment that is spoon feeding, I always say raise the bar. Or my teacher that I teach with, who is my guru, Professor Jain, when a student asks him a question, he says, I don't know, that's a good question. Why don't you work with your peers to try and answer it? So I think in raising the bar, we can start from our side as well. I think in the assignments that we give, and how many guidelines we don't give for the assignments that we give, how tough or easy our grading is. If we have a special grade for entrepreneurial thinking in the assignment and a special grade for technical quality, I think you're already signaling that it's important. So yeah, I think we can do a lot. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ramkumar,
Yeah.
he wants to ask you something. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Rama.
Hi.
It's just a thought. I was reading somewhere, which is very interesting in the context of what you talked, that a lot of traits of an entrepreneur are visible in the animal world. Okay, they always say dog eat dog world. Okay, and that's very interesting phrase in the sense that the toughness of business is expressed in this kind of idiom, or you say free as a bird, or somebody say brave as a lion, or playful as a kitten. All these are traits which are absolutely essential for an entrepreneur. Okay, fast as a rabbit, for example. The point I want to make is that are the traits of entrepreneurship basically inherent, or they can be 100% be imbibed?
I'm making a very strong case that says that you can learn them. I think the genius is in learning them in a way that works for you. So some people run fast in marathons, some people run fast in short sprints. So it's what kind of race is yours, what kind of game is yours. But we also know that slow and steady like a tortoise can also win the race over a hare. So, and the other thing, it's interesting you brought up the jungle, because I always think when I spend time in the jungle that the most collaborative place in the world is actually the jungle.
Absolutely.
When cheetahs on the prowl, the deer will be signaling, the langurs will be signaling, the birds will be signaling. When they're in the water body, one lot is sharing from the other side. So even in business now, we're talking about ecosystem. I mean, the Uber company needs the Uber driver needs us, we need somebody else. So, urban company can't function without its people. So I think the ecosystem is probably a good analogy. But yes, I think you can use the traits that you have, the core competencies that you have, to seek entrepreneurship that fits your core competencies. If you put me in an operations and process heavy startup, I will die. I mean, I really, my eyes glaze over. So maybe I'm just better off being an entrepreneur of ideas and, doing think tanks. But I will collaborate always with someone who has that other piece. So together we're stronger.
Yeah.
Interesting thought.
Something there. Thank you.
Good afternoon, madam. This is Surya Kumar from the Technology Business Incubator from this university. So as you're telling, I think the right from at least while we were in the college or school days, we never had that entrepreneurship is an alternate career pathway. It was always either you go to the industry or go to the academics. I think there's nothing else. And entrepreneurship was always you can say a family-run business. Only people who think about entrepreneurship about family business. I think now if we inculcate that or that thought into the student right from the early days that entrepreneurship is an alternate career pathway. That's number one. Number two, as told by Vijay Sai Garu, he quoted several examples that recently or who are the very successful entrepreneurs these days, they never invested even a 1 rupee also, only just they had an idea. So just that thought that yes, entrepreneurship is an alternate career pathway, and if you have some innovative idea, start thinking in that angle, I think you can be a successful entrepreneur. Because there are many people who are willing to fund and make you an entrepreneur, provided you have a good innovative idea. I think the basis could be to focus or mold the minds of the young students or the budding stage to more into innovation, so that they see the unmet needs of the society, so they see the unseen and they bridge the gaps. So I think because all these small gaps like what we see the Zomato or the whatever it is or the Ubers and all that problems were there since many years. So we keep living with the problem, or we don't identify the problem, or we just try to solve something and we try to live with the problem. So we don't try to solve the problem completely. So I think that if they try to fill the gap or bridge the gap, I think they see the unseen. I think they are the winners.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think you don't have to go into small companies or startup. Big businesses now are so completely threatened because small people are being able to do what they can't. I'm on the board of a bank, and every day we discuss the small fintechs and what they're doing and whether we should worry or not worry. So I think you're right that if you can teach a problem-solving orientation, think what no one else has thought about, that which everybody sees, and the kind of work that you're doing where you're bringing VCs and incubation and stuff. We have a center in Ahmedabad also, Center for Innovation and Incubation of Entrepreneurship. So I think just that exposure gives people ideas. You're right. Absolutely.
Vijay Sai Garu would like to interact with Ramagar.
Yeah, good evening, Ramagar. I think it is
though actually we are into business, say for the last 20 years. So we are given actually a new ideas or new dimension for all our thoughts. I have two questions. Today's generation are confused whether actually they have to stick to honesty and morality. If they have to come up, whether actually they have to sacrifice these two very important things, because they are seeing so many incidents or studying so many organizations scaling up actually to a newer heights within no time. And there are other institutions actually, they are just like that. Like if we see my son so many times question me, why Tatas and Birlas like this, why actually Reliance actually has peaked to that level. So what is the difference? The other question is scaling up. In Hyderabad, if you are aware, I don't know whether you are aware or not, about 10 years back, actually one individual started dine to meal. So he started with 10 people like this 2 days. Started actually sending food. We have to actually call him 10 years back. I think he ran about 2 to 3 years. So I think he failed to scale up the operations and actually convert it into a good business model. So how to do it actually? What is actually preventing for so many entrepreneurs to scale up their operations?
Right. Good questions. On the first one, I'm very clear. Bad capital, bad values and bad capital go together. That's partly the mess of our educational system. The minute it's a land grab, you're not going to really be educating people. That is also true. And I think it's something that parents and teachers can tell people that success at any cost is not right, and that you have to follow a certain set of values. I think that is important. I mean, even at this time, for example, I have young people who tell me that my boss is asking about budgets and targets and the team out there is at risk. What should I be doing? And I say to them that at a time like this, you have to be the best person you can possibly be, and you have to be willing to take the consequences of that. So I think that if there is going to be a division between a particular value set A, B, C, and D, I think every one of us individually as teachers, educators, business leaders, forum leaders, I would like to see the CII. I mean, I wonder why the CII never in its annual thing to the Prime Minister does not ask not for reduction of excise duty, but for a greater outlay on police reform. You know, I mean, I think it's really a question of what it is that we hold that is important. And I'm just taking the CII as an example. I'm sure everybody else is pretty much the same way. So I think we have to continue to run the relay race of values to the extent that it will go. On the second one, scale is a big issue. Often people who are good at basic startups do their startup a disservice because they don't want to give up for what scale requires. So after a while, you have to say, I cannot be the limitation of my company, which they don't do. The other part of it is just the guts and gumption. I mean, you know, so some people do have the guts and gumption to take it further. Some people are very happy. It's a dare to dream. Some people are very happy. I mean, C.K. Prahlad, who's another teacher and guru of mine, once described a particular business house. And he said, they're very happy if they can fund 4 kacheris and, you know, go first class to a European holiday with the entire company, and they don't really want to go and take on the world. So I think another management guru called it the battle for dreams, the battle for markets, and the battle for competencies. So some companies do very well in the battle for dreams, some don't. But often it is the entrepreneur who's the birth parent, who is the one who is stopping the company from scaling. So there are lots of issues. The other is that the capital that we need in between a pilot tested idea and commercialization, that capital is not available. So that's something that you know, the Innovation Foundation tries to do. So there are many reasons why we're wrong. We also don't have enough angel funding. We have venture, big stuff. So that the toddler stage is everybody's getting shot to hell.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for throwing light on social entrepreneurship. Because as a science person, I know that always the entrepreneurship is with reference to the product or the process. But my question is how to reduce the time lag between the idea and the startup, ma'am.
One is you need a certain amount of funding. That is true. For example, I work with a couple of startups and I know that they have everything in place, but they don't have the money that it takes to get their tech completely ready in order to get going. So sometimes money is not always the solution to everything. Sometimes it's just lack of process. Here are the 20 things I need to do. Let me start getting them done. So I often tell them, can you go and hire someone who likes process? Because you guys don't like process. So time to market often, and so one part of it is money, one part of it is inability to have the process that is required to reduce time to market. In my think tank, for example, I find that everybody wants to sit and discuss the statistics of it, the findings, but no one wants to discuss how we're going to monetize and how we're going to scale. So I make a rule that says in a business meeting, I don't want to hear the word random sampling. I don't want to hear technology because people love playing with their tech toys. So if it's a business meeting, let's talk business. If it's tech, let's talk tech. And I had another social entrepreneur who made a rule that said the next person who comes up with an idea will pay a fine because we have too many ideas and too little execution.
Yeah.
So these are all little hidden traps in terms of speed to market.
Yeah, thank you.
That's interesting.
Thank you.
Just a couple of questions from the student. They're watching you on the YouTube, but they're unable to post in this group. So one of my faculty, she transferred it to my WhatsApp group. One student asked, despite of all these challenges, how do you motivate yourself every day?
Because I want to do it. That's what makes me happy. That's what gives me my energy. The days when I don't do it, I don't have the energy. The day when I do it, I feel good. So it comes from a need of wanting to, right? So I think you, and when things are bad, I have two mantras. One, I say to myself, this too shall pass. I know it's challenging. I know it's tough. I know it's fed up, but I say this too shall pass. Even in our businesses, we know that there will be a post-corona world. We have to handle COVID as well as we do, but what are we going to come out of on the other side of this? Are we going to come out weakened and battered? We already are, but are we going to come out defeated? Or are we going to come out standing up and ready to run? And the other is to say the old thing, God give me the strength the courage to change the things I can, the equanimity to accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's particularly important to someone like me because I never seem to know the difference. So you have to give yourself a set of mantras and live by them.
Just one more question, ma'am. She asked, how do I convince my parents? I have a passion for it, but how do I convince? Maybe you're talking about improving the emotional intellect. Maybe please answer this question.
Sometimes, I'm going to shoot me for saying this, but sometimes I think parents also move when they see how convinced you are. My father told me that you will go to IIM Ahmedabad over my dead body. I had IIM Ahmedabad admission, I had IIM Calcutta admission, and he said, you're not going. I was 18 years old. And then he said, you can go if you get engaged to who I tell you to. And I said, I don't want 8 on strings. But sometimes you have to show them that you're really serious. And so eventually he let me go with a lot of issues. And then 4 years later, he said, it was my idea. So I said, well and good. So yeah, you have to negotiate and show them you're keen. And if it doesn't work, ask yourself, what's the price I'm willing to pay?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And somebody asked, is job experience is required before starting a business? But Mr. Srikanth has responded in the chat box. And just one more question: the question is not clear, but then I think they want to ask how to deal with the failures in the entrepreneurship journey.
Yes.
That is what.
Stand up, dust yourself.
Deal with this failures.
Stand up, dust yourself, learn resilience, detailed, painful analysis of what went wrong, be completely ruthlessly honest with yourself, and start all over again. I have a situation in my family, and I said to this person that, how long are you going to keep saying, "Arey, I'm a failed entrepreneur, and that's why I'm working in a big job I hate"? I mean, at some point you have to stop being self-indulgent, ask yourself why you failed, dust yourself, and start again. It's not a stigma. In fact, now if you fail as an entrepreneur, it looks better on your resume. People want people who've been to battle and failed. They don't want people who've never been to battle and never failed.
In Israel, they celebrate failures.
Ramgaru, with your permission.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Rama, I know about you. I mean, from the Mark days, I was into marketing research and I've been following for quite some time. Ma'am, when you have not never failed in your career, I don't think so. I've never read your failure stories. Or will you justify if I ask you what do I do when I fail?
I failed every other. Of course, I failed. I failed a lot.
A lot of examples. I started my career failing.
I failed a lot. In fact, I asked myself when I started on my own that, am I on my own because I failed in the corporate world and I couldn't cut it? When I left the board of a big company, I said, did I leave because I failed or did I leave because I have a value system? So there are lots of failures along the way.
that would inspire us a lot, ma'am.
Oh yeah. There are lots of failures, but I don't call them failures. I now that I'm older, I say to myself that is the judgment call I made given the information I had then.
Great.
And if I knew what I know now, it may have been a different decision, but at that time, that was the right decision, turned out to be the wrong one.
Thank you.
There is an interesting question asked by Chamundeswari madam. So madam, how do you generate new ideas and what motivates you?
I'm always on in the sense that even when I go for a walk in Corona times, I will see the Bhel Puri wala and I will see the kebab wala back. And the next time someone in a company tells me that, oh, everything is going to change, consumers are going to change, I'm saying I'm still seeing them spit on the street. So part of it is that I'm always observing. The second is that I read everything I can get my hands on. That is interesting. If it's not interesting, I don't read it. But one thing I've learned in the lockdown period, which is a bit of a shock to me as well, that my ideas come when I'm connected with the world outside. I thought lockdown, 1 year, I will write 3 books, no problem. I find that I have done 0 because it's the buzz and the connection with the world that gives me my ideas. So I think all of us have to ask what gives me ideas. I know that the vacuum and the peace and quiet is not giving me ideas. It's the walk down a crowded street that gives me ideas. It's running into people like you that gives me ideas. So yeah, I need that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It was thanks a lot. It was wonderful to have you. And I really, my deepest, once again, appreciation and thanks to Ram Kumar Garu. We definitely count on it. Okay, thank you, ma'am. We really hope to have you some other time, directly on our campus to motivate, how, in Tirupati, maybe after some time. Yeah.
రమగారు మీకు తెలుగు రాదని అనుకుంటారేమో అని ఒక్క నిమిషం మీరు తెలుగులో మాట్లాడి I think you can sign off.
తెలుగు మాట్లాడటం బాగానే వస్తుంది. నాకు తెలుగు మాట్లాడటం బాగానే వస్తుంది. I can't say కృతజ్ఞత and all that because I think that part of my life I think in English. కానీ నేను definitely మీ campus కి నేను physically వస్తాను as soon as.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. I'm sure this is a motivation to our young students who come from a very different backgrounds, semi-urban, urban, and rural. So these things definitely, strengthen their minds, ignite their minds, so that they can choose this path. We see in the classroom many times, so they ask, I want to be an entrepreneur, because we have so many entrepreneur centers on campus. They're connected. They conduct a lot of programs, but at the end of the day, they say first year, they're very excited. And as time goes on, final year, ma'am, my parents are not allowing. So these things are happens. I think I personally and the team felt that when we connect, the role models, I'm sure, they get motivation. Thank you so much. It's a motivation to not only students.
Open a counseling center for parents, please. That would be an entrepreneurial thing to do.
Yeah, good.
Open a counseling center for parents.
Yeah, I think we should do that. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
It's a very good idea.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your presence. Yeah. Now we will move on to the next session. I request, Suri Kumar Garu to moderate the next session where Ms. Kavita Krishnasena is with us. I'll leave it to the Suri Kumar Garu.
Thank you, madam. I think it's my pleasure to introduce the next speaker, Kavita Shinai Garu. I think she'll be speaking on the topic new entrepreneur emerging opportunities in environmental sciences, green technologies, and micro enterprises. Kavita Shinai Garu, she is an electronics engineer and an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, an internationally certified trainer and a speaker. She is a founder of ICT Technologies Private Limited, which focuses on innovation as a critical driver for competitive advantage. With over 20 years of experience in IT industry, she is an accomplished manager, with outstanding business acumen, technical leadership, and big picture thinking. Her well-received trainings have
Just
been.
one second. Yeah. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Her well-received trainings have benefited more than 5,000 participants across the country. And her experience is related to the business associate. She has been with Cognizant Technology Solutions. She was senior manager in Mindtech India Limited. She was head at Training Institute of CDAC, Bangalore, team coordinator CDAC Bangalore, and Career Foundation, Balatronics, Bangalore. She's currently engaged in writing a book titled The Green Business, How to Grow Money on Trees, that not only empowers young India, several green career revenues, but also showcases India's time immemorial green spirit and technology to the world. She is a BTech in Electronics Communication from Trichur, Calicut, in the year 1990. I think with this, madam, I request you to take over and address all of us. We're looking forward for your wonderful lecture. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Surya Kumar. It's wonderful to be here and addressing the students community especially. It's really wonderful, especially because I am a trainer and a counselor as well. So before I get down to the topic on the emerging opportunities in green business technologies, or in green businesses, I just have a quick question to everyone. Why do you think our rivers are polluted? If you could chat, it would be wonderful if you could just type in quickly, what reasons do you think is making our rivers so polluted? There are umpteen, but I'm looking for especially a major reason that's affecting all of us. And that's something that's affecting even the future as well.
Because of plastic?
Yes, it is plastic, I would agree.
The industrial waste is being dumped into rivers. Yes, all kinds of waste, sewage. There's no proper urban planning happening. We are growing humongously, but not without planning. We are growing in a haphazard manner.
Yes, thank you so much for saying that.
Madam, collective of so many anthropogenic activities.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I definitely agree with you. But the major part of it is the way we are dumping waste into the river, the effluents that we are sending out. If you look along the river, especially, I have the Ganga in my mind. A lot of with the Namami Gange, a lot of information was there. And then, we know all along the river, there are a lot of industries. And without a thought to the environment, we are simply dumping all the effluents right into the river, and sometimes even without treating it. And that's one reason that the government came up with a lot of STP plants all along the river. So man is so focused on getting his financial performance right, even whatever business he's doing, he's so focused only on getting his profits right that he's hardly bothered about what he's doing to the environment. He just does not care. Because if he did care on the other aspect, if you really look at the global warming that we are facing today, it's all because of his own greed to achieve something that is not in harmony with nature. And I think man is the only person who's doing that. If you look at all the other creatures, they all work in harmony, and there's a certain interdependence with which we work, and man somehow does not work with. And global warming is a wonderful example for that, where urbanization increased, population increased, and we've been cutting down trees without actually, instead of planning cities and moving concentrations of populations across the country, we've just cut down and expanded and used it for various purposes. And so today we are the nature is like trying to come and hit us back. If you look at the kind of rainfall that we have, Bangalore especially has have, we used to have like 2 months of rainfall, and today it's like 5 months in a year. And if you look at the floods that we have had in Chennai, in Mumbai, in Kerala, in all these places, so very bad planning, and that's coming because of we do not care for any thought for the nature or anything around us as such. And so it's majorly, if you get my money, I'm very happy. It's majorly, you know, our own greed that's making us into this aspect. So sometime, and you know, we are not an exception. And the worst is that the whole world is doing this. And so sometime in 1994, you know, I do not know if this was stressed earlier along in the webinar. Mr. John Elkington, he's a serial entrepreneur. He's an authority on sustainable development. He's also an author on all this sustainable development as such. He brought about this concept. He coined a term called triple bottom line. As we know, bottom line is in a balance sheet is nothing but points to the profits that the business is making. So since we have focused only on profits, it's now time, with all the pandemic happening, with all the global warming happening, with the rivers getting polluted and untold damages that even agriculture is making with this whole world, it's time to relook at our own, what we define the success of a business is. And today it needs to be measured. And whoever is, you know, I know I have a lot of student community here, and I really want to stress and urge you all to focus on three aspects, not just on the profits. So the triple bottom line is going to focus on three things. One, the planet, the people, and third, the profits. Of course, you need profits when you do a business. If you want to thrive, if you want to keep it sustained, you definitely need money. However, the attitude should not be by hook or by crook. Get your money by all means, and that's the major, the bottom line of doing a business. You need to pay your employees, you need to pay yourself, you need to earn. And profits is very, very important. But with that, you should be able to focus on what your processes are, what are the impacts that your own organization has on the people inside your own organization first, the welfare of them, and the society at large, and the environment at large. So any business that you're going to start today, I would insist that you should focus on the impacts of these three aspects: the planet, people, and the profits. And it's more so because this is a powerful tool. The triple bottom line is a powerful tool for your own sustainability, for sustainable development. Because if you do not take care of your own people, just as an offline, if you focus only on profits, do not pay your people well, you do not take care of them, you do not have welfare means, you don't have processes that take care of the emotional intelligence of people about what they are, how they are, then they are not going to be motivated, and they are not going to come back and work for you. On the other hand, when you motivate them to a large extent, then the work that they put out, the efficiency with which their work is going to be, it has a direct impact on your products, on your services, which definitely, when the quality of the product and the services increases, then that definitely has an impact on your own profits. So triple bottom line becomes a lovely measure for the success of any business today. And anybody going forward should look at all these three aspects before you take up anything. Though it came from this UK author, John Elkington, India culturally has been very, very pro-nature. And if you look at Vriksho Rakshati Rakshita, the tree protects its own protector, and it's ancient Indian wisdom. And if you look at even Mahatma Gandhi spoke that the environment or the nature or the earth that we get today, we have in our hands, is something that we have loaned from our own grandchildren. We cannot be giving back to them an earth that is ridden with so many problems. Definitely not the ones like global warming or even the pandemic. No, we don't want to have that. We have to do it, make it better, and give it to them so that there is sustainability throughout. The whole nature is sustaining on interdependence, and man, for his own matter, is focused only on his own his own greed, that he just forgets about everything around us. So to start with, I want to insist on a slogan that came about the Chipko movement. I'm not sure how many of the students would know about this. This happened a long time ago in 1974. Chipko movement is about how that movement convinced the government of that time to stop cutting the trees on the slopes of the Himalayas. And Dr. Sundarlal Bahuguna, he's a Padma Vibhushan awardee. He led that team. And it is based on the Bishnoi tribe of Rajasthan, who actually went and hugged the tree when the king long time ago came to cut down the trees. And because the king's men had orders, unfortunately they had to even, these ladies had to sacrifice, and they didn't, and just because one of them had sacrificed their life, it didn't deter the others. And when one went, so many others came forward, and they came and hugged the trees. And that's and the king realized after a very long time, unfortunately, that what those ladies are saying is true. They worship trees. And the slogan of this Chipko movement is, when Chipko is to hug the trees, and the slogan is based, it's so wonderfully based. It says, ecology is the permanent economy. So we cannot have a permanent economy if we are trying to not focus, we're not going to take care of the economy, ecology, the environment, or the people around it. So today's the business opportunities that I'm going to present today, it's part of the book that I am about to publish. It's called The Green Business, How to Grow Money on Trees. It has all these emerging opportunities that I'm going to speak specifically related to the ecology as such. And it's based on this theme, ecology is the permanent economy. And just so that it will help a lot of the student community here, I would like to map these opportunities with three brilliant ideation techniques. I hope you all know that creativity is a learnable skill today. There are a lot of techniques that I myself teach, several techniques where you can prod the right brain and generate a lot of ideas. And the three principles that I felt I should tell you all today and relate the opportunities with that goes is, number one, first, I think the previous discussion also spoke about it, feel the pain. So you know that once there is a problem, and any problem for that matter, if you actually find a solution for that, maybe that solution can turn into a good opportunity, good business opportunity. So the first one is about feel the pain, and I'll tell you some of the emerging opportunities based on this. And the second one is to sense the trend. Anything emerging, any new things that are emerging are a good thing. Not many people know about it. You will be early birds. You will have an early advantage of doing that business. So you can always take that, sense the trends that are currently going on. So if you're into engineering, and then AI is a great trend to start with. Mobile apps have been there, but still you could go on into areas where nobody has ventured, and you could start off with mobile apps. So those emerging trends would actually help out. So the second one is to notice all the emerging trends. So you have to sense the trends that are available. And the third one is about to notice the waste. So I'm sure you get to hear about reuse, reduce, and recycle technologies. So seeing the waste and using how you can add value to the waste and make it into a business opportunity is very important. Sometimes these things are all around us, and then we never take out time to actually focus or notice and think, yes, this is something that's important for me, and this is something that I can do. So let me start with the first one, which is to feel the pain. Now, all of us know, or all of us are literally hit with rising petrol costs. Have you ever thought, now this has been a problem for over the years, the cost is just increasing and increasing. Have you any time thought that you as an ordinary citizen can actually stop petrol costs, can stop or reduce or leave it at that, stop its increase? Have you any time thought that that could be a business opportunity, and that's something that we can do as people, as ordinary people? I'm not talking about the solar vehicles or the electric vehicles. I know those are huge investments, but I'm talking about something that you and me as ordinary people, or someone who's going to start out, can actually do. Has anybody thought about petrol costs? Can you give me quickly chat and tell me if there's something that you have had and how you can stop that?
Yeah, now people are moving with the biofuels.
Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah, moving towards biofuels like bioethanol and
Yeah,
then
yes,
biodiesel.
exactly. Yeah. Green diesel and biopetrol. That's correct. But how are it's done in the labs? Then how can you and me as people can do that? Biodiesel is what I'm trying to talk about. It's very wonderful to hear that. Yes. So bioethanol. Now the government has a program about blending ethanol with the fossil fuels, and then the target is to have a 10% for ethanol blend by 2022. Currently, India has achieved like 6.2, and about 20% of ethanol blend by 2030. Now, whatever the government is doing, to make ethanol, at the current, majorly in India, it's made from sugarcane. And with being a large producer of sugarcane itself has fallen short of the production, the requirement that they need to blend ethanol, ethanol production as such. So what can you do so the government is looking out for several alternatives for sugarcane, and one such alternative that I can suggest, and this is where I'm coming to, is a big opportunity, is about growing bamboos. Now, why bamboo? Now, when I say bamboo, I'm not talking about those hollow bamboos that we use, we see constantly being used in ladders or in making huts and all that. But this bamboo is a special variety. It's called the Bambusa balakova. What's so special about this variety is that there is the hollowness inside this bamboo is just about a dia of 1 inch. That means the bamboo is so thick you cannot lift it up. If you have a bamboo pole, it's quite possible you can lift the one that's called the Bambusa vulgaris, the one which you use for ladders. It's very hollow, so you can actually lift it. But the one the special variety is, it's so thick. And that's one reason, because it has the biomass. It gives you that kind of biomass. So when you compare the one with the vulgaris and this, the biomass is so high, then the ethanol produced out of it is the yield is very high. And that's one reason that bamboo is something that you can, and the growth of bamboo, especially for a business, to make, you need to have this growing much faster. And this bamboo can grow like maybe 1.5 feet per day. In 24 hours, the bamboo can grow, and any bamboo will grow between 12 to 36 inches. And this particular one can grow about like maybe 1.5 feet. So like about 18 inches. So with that kind of growth, it will reach like in a month or two, if you have actually watched the bamboo, it will reach like 30-40 feet, the maximum growth that it has in 30-40 days, about a month or maximum 2. So it has something about a 60-day growth cycle. And therefore, the faster this grows, the faster you are able to harvest, and the faster you are able to get the yield and sell. And that is how it impacts your business. That's how it helps to grow your own business. So bamboo today is a great alternative to make ethanol. And not only that, and ethanol is just about, so if I was just looking up the numbers of what the oil companies have floated, today there is and not many people are growing bamboo, and we have a requirement just for this purpose about ethanol blending. 70,000 acres of bamboo is what we require. The tonnage that you get, it's about 40 tons an acre. So it sells at about like say 4K per kg, and then and the revenue that it gives you is also extremely high, about 1.6 lakhs. So this bamboo is a very great, an opportunity for any of us to actually grow and use it, because not only it's very versatile. It can be used for making cycles. It can be used for making keyboards. It can be used to make just anything. It's 6 times stronger than steel. It can be used for construction purposes. It can be used as animal fodder. It can be used for green energy plantations. So not just with ethanol, this bamboo is so versatile and it grows so fast, and that's where it helps you with a business opportunity. And it's very easy to grow. In fact, you can actually be a remote farmer. If you did have a land in your village, you could be in the city, and then, you go start it off, and then you just need to go on the weekends and be a remote farmer to actually make it grow, because that's the fastest it's growing. So what about the water? Now it can grow even in treated sewage water. So if you can redirect water from the households into the bamboo field, that's all it requires. You don't even need fresh water for this bamboo to grow. So this bamboo is a wonderful opportunity, and all we need to do for it, and it's budding, because the government has also come up with some 12 biorefineries that are spread across 11 states. And they're about past 2-3 years, 2018 or something, they've started up, and and they're growing, and the government is very, you can see the tenders being floated by the oil marketing companies to show, just to keep you saying that there is a lot of interest in this. So bamboo is a wonderful example, and once you help the government blend the ethanol, then that's going to solve some of our problems about feeling the pain of having the petrol costs increasing. So in feeling the pain, the first example, or the first emerging opportunity that I want, is to simply grow this Bambusa balkova bamboos. And it's very easy, and it's very profitable and easy to grow, and it's something that you can actually work on it. You actually think through and work on it. The second one that I want to talk about on the same thing, feel the pain. So feel the pain is, you may have known that India is, very bleakly the diabetes capital of the world. Sometime around 2018, the prediction is that we go in by 2025, we will have around 70 million people who are going to be diabetic. And then we have around 80 million just abounding by 2030. And then if we don't do anything to it, Indian population, we can get very, very sick with respect to diabetes, and it can be a very horrible disease. I don't have to tell you what it is. Now, what are the various reasons that we have? We do not have enough fiber, and this is something I know all of us would have thought about. We have such lovely Ayurveda-based traditional food system, especially the ones that we get in a marriage and the feast that we have. It's fantastic. And I just love that kind of food. I'm sure all of you would do. And those were all based on grains and pulses and everything that had fiber. But today we have moved over to refined rice, refined flour, and refined sugar. All these, without the fiber aspect, allows the human body to just absorb every single, without the fiber would have actually filtered and allowed it, and the organ, the pancreas gets so overwhelmed secreting insulin, at some point in time, it cannot cater to what you feed it, what you feed to the body. And given the sedentary lifestyle that most of us are armchair critics, armchair discussions, yes, thanks to the pandemic, it's making us even more armchair critics and discussers. So the diabetes part is going to be here to stay unless and until we take a staunch or a strong decision to reverse that. And it is reversible today. So what I want to talk here is about, and because this is a problem and it is affecting every single health, now this can be a business opportunity as well. So in some way, it is, you are going to help India gain health, and at the same time, you can make it a business for your own livelihood and for the livelihood of so many people. Now, what it is, can you convince the people of India to remove the refined sugar, the bottles of refined sugar on your dining tables, and allow it to be replaced with honey? Then that is something that we need to a large extent. The government is focusing so much on the National Honey Mission. We are somewhere around the 8th today in the world, and the government really wants us to go over towards the 3rd position. And they have several, a lot of, I think nearly 500 crores worth projects are running into this. And all that you and me should do is to grow a bee box. And it's very easy, does not need much. This is a low investment business, much like how bamboo is. All you need to know is to learn how to keep bees. And you don't need to find a place in your own house to keep these bee boxes. These bee boxes can be placed in farms, various farms across the place, and it's going to help the farmers as well, because the yield is going to go anywhere between 25% to 90% for the farmer. And why will he will not allow you to keep these bee boxes there? Have you heard of California almonds? 1,000 advertisements in the TV. California almond this, California almond that. Do you know they use bees? They invite beekeepers in the California region. So the US beekeepers migrate to the California farms. And for every bee box that they have, they earn something like $200. Imagine you having that, and each of them will have like 2,000 bee boxes that they rear. We don't need to go that far. If you just get honey out of these bee boxes at 500 rupees per kg, 100 bee box that if you have can get you something like 10 lakhs a year. And that is a good amount. A software engineer about 2 or 3 years is going to have 10 lakhs. With the bee boxes that you keep, you can place it in the farmer, help the farmer increase his yield, and earn 10 lakhs for you yourself. And in the process, try to improve someone's health. You could have, sip-ups. I don't know if these schools have that even now. Into small covers, you could have 5 ml, 10 ml of honey, just sell it at 10 rupees. Every school and every college can have that. At breaks, you can simply go take that and sip up instead of taking that sugar-filled juice that is around there. Honey is so much with so much medicinal property. Raw honey is very, very important. And especially because the honey, the demand is so high, they want to sell it at any cost. And there are fake honeys happening everywhere in the market today. There are cheap Chinese sweeteners, sugar syrups that are around there, and they get mixed and sell. I imagine if you can run a business where authentic product, you are selling an authentic product, and that becomes very important. If you think integrity and morality is not going to sell today, you're wrong. These values very much matter. As a business person, when you show integrity, when you bring that integrity, your own integrity into the quality of the product that you're selling or the service that you're selling, that product is going to run far. It's very difficult unless you know a trusted source to get honey, raw honey is very difficult, because what you pick up from the supermarket shelves is nothing but fake. It's a lot of sugar added to it, and that can add to increase your risks for diabetes. Recently there was a test done by CSC Delhi, and they proved even the top brands in India are having a lot of fake honeys. The purity of honey is very, very bad. This definitely is a big demand for honey. This definitely is a good opportunity for us to get down into the field and start rearing bee boxes. There are umpteen beekeepers around. You could approach the KVIC, you could approach the National Honey Mission to have contacts. There are regular trainings that are happening. The training is just for one day. You probably need to be with these beekeepers for about a year or so to get a good hold of it. And they themselves, some of them have taken the beekeeping business to the next level of producing honey. So they themselves will buy. So you already have buyers. So all it takes is that, do we have that courage to get down on the field and start to just rear bees? And bee today, 20th May actually is the World Bee Day. And bee is getting extinct 1,000 times faster than its normal rate because of anthropogenic activities. Very simple. Man is killing the bees. And without bees, we cannot survive. 30% of the fruits and vegetables that we eat are bee pollinated. Have you any time, now this is the mango season, try getting a bee pollinated mango. You will really see the difference. The taste, the looks of the mango, the size of the mango, And the sweetness of the mango is very different from any of the other varieties that you get. Bee pollinated, naturally made, natural farmed mangoes are fantastic. And all this is because of that great thing called bee, the honeybee. And when we feel the pain that and see this pain is there with so many people, the farmers, you relieve his pain, you'll relieve the pain of Indians as such. From you reduce diabetics, when you reduce sugar, you're going to reduce diabetics. And this is a wonderful opportunity, and a lot of players are required here. And this is something that can be easily done. And I would request the student community to literally think through this and see what best you can do into getting, because there is a huge demand for this. So in terms of looking at it from feeling the pain, you can actually, if you want to contribute to the society, you want to bring about a change, bring about an impact in India, in the nation, then these two aspects is something that you can actually work out. So feel the pain. So the second idea, or what you need to look into if you want to look, if these two don't appeal to you, what else can you look into is about notice or sense the trends. Now, what are those trends? Okay, so let me talk about one thing. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought you can sell Taj Mahal? No, right? That's a monument. But we can sell replicas of the Taj Mahal and make money. So have so many people done. So same thing. If I say, can we sell the Parliament House? No, what rubbish, what kind of an idea is she speaking about? Yes, but we can make replicas of the Parliament House and we can sell. So this is about the trends. Now, the trending thing is people are selling forests. And I don't mean the forests that are there in central India or northeastern India that are reserve forests. No, they are creating forests as a service. And they are doing that to enhance landscapes. They are doing that to enhance government public parks, zoos, and not just in India. It's being taken up in a big way just outside India in a very big manner. People want, how can I make a forest right within, like say, an area that's like a room? How many trees can I grow in a 10 by 10 room, 10 feet by 10 feet room, 100 square feet? 30 trees, and they will grow as dense as a forest. And to make it a business, do I have the process now? Okay, maybe by fluke, I've done it in one room. Can I do it in the other room? Yes, definitely. The process is established. And you need to have an established process for any business to thrive, because you want to create that service again and again and again. So this process is established. It's called the Miyawaki methods of making forests. He's a Japanese ecologist and an expert, and he came out with this natural ways of creating forests. And you know how fast do you think you have to wait for 20 years for the forest to come? No, you're wrong. In 2 to 3 years, this forest rises. I have seen it happen with this person. It was there in his backyard. The first time I met him, the plants were like about 3 feet. And the second time I met, that's about 2 months later, the plants were just growing like about 6 feet. So the growth of this forest is like 10 times faster. It can reduce pollution, noise pollution 30 times, and it's all 100% natural, 100% biodiverse. It has enough biodiversity to attract a lot of birds and an ecosystem. These people have done it right there in Rajasthan in a desert. And I don't mean you always use the native shrubs, the native trees. So the trees that you see in the coastal area will not be the one in Rajasthan. So when I mean a forest, it's about this collection of trees. And what does the forest do? It's so much radiating positivity. It's bringing you enough moisture content in the atmosphere. And it is a wonder if you want to add it as a wonderful wild element in your landscaping. It's beautiful. So a lot of these real estate people are taking up these guys. So the demand is very high. Creating forest is a service. And you can, in about 5 to 6 years, your revenues can go high, 1 crore, 2 crores. And you can get something like about 10 to 15% just by creating forests. And forest is an ecosystem, a self-contained ecosystem. You don't need to water it. It can stand on its own. It generates its own water. The principles of forest, if you get to know, you know that the forest self-contains. Nobody's going and watering the rainforest that we have or the tropical forest that we have. Nobody's feeding with water. Nobody's feeding it with fertilizers. Nobody's even putting any pesticides on it. So this is one emerging trend, creating forest as a service. Now, what if I were to apply this forest and make it into an agricultural land or for a farmer? Can I do those techniques? Can I apply a forest technique onto making, growing crops, fruits, vegetables? Do you think it will thrive for the farmer? This is something I think you can do when you use the agroecological or agroforestry methods to bring down into farm, then that farm yields as great as a forest does. The forest is abundant, so is this agricultural farm. And that brings us to the next emerging. And this is something I know Andhra Pradesh has taken up really well, and it's going in a big way. This is a movement that happened sometime in 1996. So since for more than 20, 30 years, this movement is going on, and now it is catching up. And just about in 2018, Nirmala Sitharaman spoke about it, where we are moving over from chemical farming to natural farming. And the one that I'm speaking about is Subhash Palekar natural farming. You know, Sikkim is the only state in India which is 100% organic. The Sikkim government took up a bold decision. They said, we are not importing chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides. And all the farmers there had to move over to switch over to natural and organic. It was impacting their environment, the Himalayas. And that was their bread and butter, the tourism. They didn't want to do, and they also worship environment. And the UN-FAO has given them an award, a prestigious award, for being the 100% organic state, the only state in India. I know Nirmala Sitharaman did speak about Subhash Palekar natural farming, and that is something Andhra Pradesh has taken up in a big way. He himself is the advisor to the government for Andhra Pradesh, and there are many farmers who are now moving over to natural farming. And that natural farming is based on this forest principles. It is self-contained. Do you know what a farmer can earn in 5 years? Per acre, he can get anywhere between 4 to 5 lakhs. The models are such that you have fruits, you have cash crops, you have the crops that definitely, the regular horticultural crops, the fruits and the vegetables. And the farmer need not wait for 5 years. He will start to get his first income 3 months later. If he sows the seeds today, if he plants the saplings today, in about 3 months' time, he can start to earn. And the intercrop, so it is dense. That is not. And if you're really thinking, no, when you think about farmlands, you think one crop all over. That is coming from the green revolution. I won't talk so much about it. Of course, it brought in food security to India. Green revolution has brought food security to India. But the chemicals that we use, the chemical fertilizers, the overuse of pesticides has brought enough issues. There's something called a cancer train. Punjab has something called a cancer train, where people get on and have a lot of issues. They have health problems, and the health problems are going on to even the next generation. So in getting the trend, I think forest, making forest as a service is a wonderful, making forest as a service is a wonderful trend to look into. Moving over to natural farming is another big trend too. Now, you may not necessarily want to actually farm, but what I'm trying to say is you can always partner. You may not be inclined to do it, but you can always partner with farmers and try to bring that up, because it has enough revenues to it. So as individuals, that's something that we can actually work on. So feel the pain, sense the trends. And the third one is about noticing the waste. So when you notice the waste around you, now, if you look around you, can you tell me one waste that is there in your house that you can add value to it? Quickly, if you can just chat around and tell me.
Vegetable waste, of course.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, vegetable waste, of course. Yeah. But have you thought about chappals? What you do with old chappals? And how can I add value to it? Waste, of course, you can convert to compost and use it as fertilizer for a lot of plants, and then you can grow your own plants. But what do you do with chappals? You know, so that's where you have something called upcycling. There's someone who came around asking us, do you have old slippers? And I was like so shocked. I was wondering what they're going to do. So what they do is, no, it's so low cost. Anybody would give it to you for free. You don't necessarily have to actually put in any money into it. So you take all the old slippers. This is what that person said, upcycling. They will take the best parts of old slippers, try to use their nice creative mind, make a good pair of slippers and sell that. Delhi had a big problem about pollution. What did the government finally do? They took all the wheat straws that is there and they don't know what to do. Take out all the wheat straws and make ethanol out of it, or make even compost out of it. So the way is to look around you to see what waste is around and what can you actually do. Sometimes it is just right in front of our eyes and then we are not even noticing it. So three things: feel the pain. So yeah, I just about. So how does these businesses that I just spoke about recycle, reuse? The forest principles, both at the farm level and at the level. How does this forest self-contain itself? Why doesn't it have fertilizers? What produces that fertilizers? Right? We are not going and feeding it. That's because it has all the dry leaves falling onto the ground that forms a lovely mulch that shelters. That mulch, the bed of leaves is called mulch because it shelters a lot of microorganisms underneath the soil, including the earthworms. And the organic content in these bed of leaves can bring the earthworms. Otherwise, you don't find earthworms because you're putting enough chemicals into the soil. Soil just is full of chemicals. And the earthworms have no way. You're killing the microorganisms down there. So if you do a soil test in a farmland, which is doing chemical farming, it will be full of chemicals, but still the soil test will tell you to add more chemicals because this chemicals lying there, the plant cannot use it. And that is how the land becomes barren and barren and barren, and we cannot use. So if you don't move over today, in some time later, we won't have land to do agriculture. So this waste, the bed of leaves actually protects these microorganisms. They help out. When they eat onto these leaves, they decompose the leaves and then they release nitrogen, they release phosphorus, they release potassium, the three major nutrients that the plants require. And that's what the same thing you're doing in the farm. And all natural if you don't want to do actual farming, if you can actually encourage natural farmers who do natural farming, those fruits that you get, they're export quality. It's so consume safe. You can simply blindly, it will pass through all export channels and you can just give it away. So you will have excess because of the fertility of the soil increasing. So you can also use it to export, and that's how you can make your own business. You don't necessarily have to go and toil. Encourage the farmer, you can make it a business to export. So export business is something that you can do. So the leaves that they fall, so in the farm, they reuse all the fertilizer, they reuse all the plant material. They don't burn like how it's being done in north, where, then that's to the pollution. They reuse this, that becomes the mulch, because farms may not have these big tall trees going to give you a lot of these bed of leaves and all that. You have to create it consciously. And so that is how, they reuse all the material and try to bring down their cost. They don't buy. So when we are not buying fertilizers, we don't have to import fertilizers. The whole thing comes and it strengthens the rupee. So when you look at it, reuse, recycle, reduce in any which ways. And so 3 things that you can help you is feel the pain, sense the trend, and notice the waste. And with these opportunities, these 4 opportunities, or even 5, or you can even make it more by actually partnering with maybe bamboo farmers, partnering with SPNF farmers, making different businesses. These, I feel, are one of the best opportunities that anyone can do to support this triple bottom line, to support your own profits, to support the planet, and to support the people. Any questions I can take now?
Yeah, I think thank you very much, madam, for the wonderful lecture that you have given. I think you have touched upon very very useful points on ideation techniques. I think these are learning for us about all the 3 points what you told on the ideation techniques, and also on the triple bottom line what you told. I think these are new learning for us. I think due to paucity of time, I think we have time only. I think we'll take up only maximum three questions, if you don't mind, because we have a excellent panel. We have a panel of members who are waiting to have the good discussion on this part. Maybe we can continue these queries also into that.
Sure.
So if anyone have a query, please, we will take up only 3 questions.
Yeah, Surya, I have a question. Good evening, Kavita and Vijay Sai here.
Yeah, good evening.
So it is, I think, a wonderful session. I think
thank you so much. Yeah.
We did the first urban forest program in Hyderabad and invited Subhen Sharma. Our project about 3 years back. So as you said, I think physically anybody in Hyderabad, they can physically come and see a mini urban forest in our project. So this is really good, and it is easily implementable. So what I further request you is for the students actually who want to pursue the ideas, whatever actually you mentioned today, can you help them actually for a while if they are interested? If any students from Padmavati University wants to pursue the 3 ideas you have mentioned, can you actually guide them so that actually there will be some beginning?
It is very nice lecture whichever you have given to us. A very nice information which you have given. I thank you for giving such a nice information. And I would like to ask one thing, because one of my students, she developed a refrigerator which is suitable for the rural areas, poorest of the poor people, and which she has designed the actually she has designed the refrigerator which is very cheap, but only thing is we could not able to get that pottery people who can prepare that whatever we have designed. That is the thing which we are lacking. So is there any chance for her to develop such type of refrigerator which is suitable for the rural poor? Hello?
Is it Professor Aruna? Please introduce yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Dr. Aruna, head of the department, Department of Home Science. So I would like to know that what is the whatever she has developed. One of my students, she has developed a refrigerator which is suitable for the rural area people. Is it feasible for her to develop, because she's trying a lot to get a person who can prepare that refrigerator which is suitable for the poorest of the poor, whom they will be leaving the homes in the rural areas, agricultural laborers and all. They cannot keep their vegetable produce or the fruit or milk, whatever they have. This can be used with the water only. Is there any help she can receive to develop that refrigerator?
Suryakumar is there. She is this.
I just I was about to say this, madam. I think Professor Aruna, madam, I think we will discuss thing, and then I think as the offer given by Vijay Sai Garu, if we feel that the idea is more, so we are just he has suggested last time also, so around 5 to 10 innovations, whatever is there to approach him. So very nice of him. So I think we will take that his offer to our advantage, and definitely we'll discuss Madam internally, and definitely we'll approach Vijay Sai Garu with a note and all that. So as he told that we need to convince the investor about the marketability of the idea.
Yes.
So that's why we'll discuss, and definitely we'll approach you, madam. So in this part, I think myself and our team that we will try to work with you, and we'll do
we would like to do that with the mud. That is the thing.
Yeah,
and one more idea I have, sir. One more idea I have, because I was
we will discuss, madam. Yeah, we will.
And
Whatever
one
is there,
more
we can
idea
discuss.
I just want to tell you, sir, because we have tested that moringa powder is showing antibacterial effect. So that can be incorporated into the water filters, which can be used in households. That is much more useful to clarify the water, and also as an antibacterial effect it shows. So that is also another idea where we can go ahead with the water development of the water candles. But I require the people who can have this chemistry oriented knowledge also. That is
Definitely
another
we will
idea.
work.
Yes.
We will work
That
internally,
is
madam,
also
and whatever
suitable
idea,
for the rural people only, water clarification.
whatever ideas are there, I request each one of them to keep their ideas, and we can discuss, so that as told, the innovative ideas, if you want the fruits for yourself, then we need to keep little secrecy of that also. So let us discuss, and then definitely we'll go to the Vijay Sai Garu for whatever help you want. When he showed us in such an open forum, we'll definitely take his help. We'll discuss internally, we'll do the need to.
Okay.
Right. Thank you so much. I think, thank you so much. I think with this.
She's disconnected, I think. Sorry, disturb. She just called me. She's disconnected. I think if she wants, she'll join in a couple of minutes. Let's move on to the next session. Is it okay?
Yeah, I think, thank you, Kavita ma'am. I think for a wonderful session and so many new points that you've given. I think with this, we move on to the next and most exciting session on the panel discussion. And then over to Vijay Lakshmi.
Now I invite Mr. Ramkumar, the Vice Chairperson, Indo Chamber of Commerce AP and Telangana branch, to conduct this interactive session with the distinguished panelists. So I will hand over to you, Mr. Ramkumar. Unmute your audios.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay Lakshmi and Mr. Surya Kumar. We have a distinguished panel of panelists today. And most of all, I'd like to introduce Mr. Surapaneni Purnachandarao Garu. He happens to be the National President of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, and we are privileged to have him here. And you must have interacted with Mr. Vijay Sai Garu, who happens to be the chairman for Andhra Pradesh and Telangana chapter, and the All India President is Mr. Purnachandarao Garu. Now, just a few words about Mr. Purnachandarao, besides his being the All India President of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. Now, he is also the Managing Director of a very successful IT company called the Global Infovision Private Limited. And he has over 33 years of experience in business management. And he is a BE Mechanical Engineering from Bangalore University. And later, he has acquired the MS in Mechanical Engineering from University of Tennessee in 1985. And he has specialized in computer science from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. And then after, he worked in developing and maintaining application software at Oak Ridge National Laboratories, Oak Ridge in US. Well, he's an entrepreneur, he's a born entrepreneur, and he promoted the Global Infovision Private Limited after working for many years in the corporate sector in the United States as well as in India. And his company, the Global Infovision, currently serves in the areas of legal coding, document management services, and software development. Besides, he is also the promoter and CEO of Infovision 21 in Columbus, Ohio, USA, which is a software consulting company which deals in litigation support services, document management services, and the reseller of Dell and Cisco hardware. Mr. Purna is extremely active in social, commercial, and business spheres. He is also the charter member of TIE, that is the Indus Entrepreneurs, and member of the Hyderabad Angels Investment Group. And Mr. Purnachandra Garu, welcome for this group discussion today. And both on behalf of SPMVV as well as Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, we are privileged to have you here this evening, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, the next, in the list of our eminent panelists is Mr. Srikanth Badiga. Mr. Srikanth Badiga is very, he always has a smiling face. I think that's a qualification in itself. Besides being the group director of Phoenix Group, which plays a very pivotal role in special economic zone, in development of special economic zones. And he is on the panel of various central government panels as well as an international panels. Mr. Badiga is at the moment a board of director Asia on World Free Zones Organization. His role in this organization encompasses OECD key panel member for curbing illicit trade practices. He voices out concerns for SEZ players of Asian region on the global platform. And he promotes conducive environmental facilitation for global trade. He's a member of the Baba Kalyani Committee on SEZs, besides being the advisor and member of Central Governing Council EPCES. He is the chairman of Andhra Pradesh. He was the past chairman of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce in the AP and TS chapter. He is advisor to TITA, where he helps promote information technology development in the state of Telangana. He is a jury in Vishwakarma Awards. Mr. Badiga is playing a very active role, not only in promoting SEZs, but also to provide a wholesome structure through which all stakeholders of SEZs benefit. He's got a winning role ahead, and in the form of Phoenix winning the Best Business Model Awards, a lot of credit goes to him. Welcome to the panel today, Mr. Srikanth Badiga. It's, as always, it's a privilege to have. The third member of our eminent panel is a very, very dynamic entrepreneur, and she is Sridevi Devi Reddy. And Sridevi Devi Reddy is the CEO of SR Innovation Exchange, a National Entrepreneur Award winner in 2019, and she is also a mentor of eminence. A Chevening Research and Innovation Fellowship is what she has acquired, and she is also a mentor for change in Atal Innovation Mission, and besides being a mentor in the Sherry Blood Foundation of United Kingdom. And she's a branch committee member of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce of AP and Telangana, besides being the governing body member of SR Engineering College, Warangal. An innovation evangelist, that's the best way she wants to call herself, and a credible thought leader in the entrepreneurship ecosystem of India. She is very well networked in the startup ecosystem in India and Europe, a Chevening Research and Innovation Fellow from Oxford University. The founding CEO of SR Innovation Exchange, a technology business incubator under the aegis of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India at Warangal. She has steered SRIX to international level in less than 2 years. She writes on entrepreneurship. Her articles are published in prominent print and online media. And as usual, she is bubbly, and it's wonderful to have her with us this evening. Welcome, all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind introduction.
Yes. So now let's begin this discussion in the light of two eminent speakers, Rama Devi and Ms. Shenoy, who took us through various aspects of entrepreneurship. In fact, Ms. Rama touched upon the spirit of entrepreneurship, the traits which are required for entrepreneurship, and the attitude of entrepreneurship. And whereas Ms. Shenoy touched upon specific aspects of entrepreneurship and opportunities in entrepreneurship. Now, having said this, I think, let's touch upon something very interesting. Now, I've been reading a book very recently where, it says, what prompts one to become an entrepreneur? Now, there are various theories about it, but broadly, it is the individual desire to become an entrepreneur, to be independent, to achieve one's thoughts, is a primary factor for becoming an entrepreneur. Now, the research said there are a few other factors that are also coming into play. One is the pull factor. The pull factor is, you're inspired by somebody, and then you want to become an entrepreneur of that kind of a nature. Then the push factor is very important. That is the economic factor, where you're compelled to do something to earn a living. So you take entrepreneurship as a means to achieve that. So that, it's not willingly doing it, but once you get into it, you become a willing player in that particular game. And so, there are various models of entrepreneurship. Now, each one of you in the next few minutes, it would be very enlightening to know what spins you off as an entrepreneur. What really enables you, to really stick to entrepreneurship. If an excellent job is offered to any one of you or all of you, I'm sure you would reject it. You would say, I don't want to be an employee, I want to be an employer. So for you to get into that frame of motivation, I think, I want to share you a little bit of experiences which are relevant for a lot of young students, who are watching this program both on YouTube as well as on Zoom platforms. So welcome, and let's begin with Mr. Surabnani Purnachandra. Sir.
You started saying that it is entrepreneurship is ideas. So basically, it is entrepreneurship is making ideas into action. I think that's what the bottom line of entrepreneurship is. And yes, there is, as you rightly raised, there is a pull factor and a push factor. That push factor may also include from your family also sometimes. So other than your own needs. Actually, yeah, when I was working, and before I became an entrepreneur, after my education, and I first started working. Actually, even when I was a student, I used to work for a few hours part time, and it so happened my first boss was a woman, and Mary Rich in the United States, and she was very friendly. And I think when I was working, I just it is good, and I can see a lot of things going on, and some of the things I wanted to do, I couldn't do because I had to do what my job requirements say. And the most, initially I started, the company in the United States, and at that time, believe me, it is, of course, all businesses are money driven, but my focus was also on helping other people, definitely. And it is not because I'm saying because I want to say it in a public forum. It was really true. And so that way, actually, at the time, a lot of the Indian companies, the easy start is starting a consulting company. Of course, I did the same thing. But in that process, believe me, I achieved what I wanted to achieve, that is helping so many people. And because, of course, not everyone is job ready, but we used to train them. And I took so many people from India. I used to have a business partner, and both of us together took so many people. Frankly, we didn't make a lot of money like a lot of other people did, but because we were trying to help people in so many ways. And that gave me a lot of satisfaction in later years. But initially, that's what I wanted to do. Then when I was doing that, then I thought, why don't I do something in India also? And I used to have a business partner. Definitely, he didn't want to come to India. So at that time, I decided to come to India and start one company here. That's how the Global Information got started. And our US company is still working, functioning, and this is also functioning. And actually, they both complemented each other in earlier years because we were placing people there, and we were getting in-house projects, and then I could train people here and send them there. So in so many ways, it worked well, and I was able to create employment here also for quite a few people. We got an American company, and we tied up with that. And initially, we started with 17 people. And then we went up to almost 180 people in the same litigation support services field. And that way, it gave a lot of satisfaction, because when someone comes, when I go to my village, which is in Andhra Pradesh, and a lot of people, quite a few people come and ask, my son needs employment, my daughter needs employment. And And of course, I can't give to everyone who asks me, but at least I direct them to a different direction. And at the same time, if I can absorb, I don't mind to absorb. And that way, an entrepreneurship, in addition to giving me money, and it also gave me a lot of satisfaction. And actually, when I go back to the US once in a while, I see a lot of people. Actually, one more thing I like to share is when my son went to the United States to did his undergraduation, and he met some people there, and then they used to ask them, who are you? Then he says, I'm from Hyderabad, and so is my father. And then surprisingly, at least quite a few people said, oh yeah, we got helped by your father. And he used to call me and say, why, did you really help that many people? A lot of people tell me that you helped them a lot. And that day, that was, it was my day actually, when he called and told me. And so I think after telling about myself, why I'm telling all this is, entrepreneurship is good, and you should, it should be business oriented. You can do public service by running an enterprise, but at the same time, you should keep the human side of it, and definitely try to help as many people as you can. You shouldn't expect returns in everything you do, and I think you have to balance that thing out that way. That is the way the entrepreneurship should be defined. That's my
thank you.
take on it.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll have an opportunity to discuss deeper into what you have said. Now, Mrs. Srikanth Badiga. Sir, I give a brief description about you. Do you regret being an entrepreneur? If not, why not?
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for giving me the opportunity. Before calling myself an entrepreneur, I should give you a small background about what made me and to stand where I am, and I take this as a privilege to be among so many other people. When I started my career as a representative marketing executive in Sony International, I was the first student selected from Usmania University way back in 93. Then I worked there only for 3-4 months with the Sony International. The reason why I left that company is one of my the manager whom I reporting heard him saying that people work here for experiences, for other expenses. Experience and other expenses, that part really hurt me very bad, because from the day when being a student or being in sports or wherever I usually give 100%. I used to work hard. So that particular sentence, even today, it hurts me a lot. Experience other expenses. That is wrong. That is not the attitude of a job giver. See, if you're working for only for employment, that is different. But the need based. But a person who really wants to grow, it's not that you become an overnight a millionaire or achieve something, but coming back to this particular subject of entrepreneurship, yes, you should have an idea to really make that idea see the light. You should have the thorough knowledge. Thorough knowledge is not like you're going to invent a bulb or whatever it is. No, you're here in this business to sell. That means, as an idea, first of all, you should have idea where it sells, how it sells, where you're supposed to place it. These are the things. So, to be direct to your question, I don't regret, sir. It is an experience. Even the present company which I'm with, Phoenix Group, I'm the founder member in this company. After putting in 10 years of my business experience, I joined Mr. Suresh Chukapalli in the infra division for the diversification of my experience. I put in almost and I was trying to discuss with Mr. Rama. Immediately after my Sony experience, I took up this marketing research consultancy. Then I got into IT. I developed an ERP. Then I got into infra and was in Suresh for the last 20 years. And that's all I mean. So in Phoenix culture, let me tell you about what made me, even though I was the very first employee in Phoenix Group, Mr. Suresh in 2001-2, when we started the company Phoenix. He was the founder vice chairman of Lanco Group, and he came out and started Phoenix Group. That's when I joined him. So on the day one, he never saw us like an employee. The formula was very simple. You want to grow, everyone should have a business mindset. And he gave us the liberty to take decisions. Only because he's giving decisions, we never fooled or never played around with the decisions. We took it very seriously. Every decision, whichever we took, we owned it. That was one of the reasons. Now Phoenix is #1 company in infrastructure company. Along with me, these are the basic reasons. Now, where any entrepreneur should see, you take whatever you talk, whatever you do, take it very seriously. Your profession, especially. You don't take it for granted. If you take it for granted, your own business, the people certainly take you also for granted. See, you should have two things. One is serious as a profession and a person. Personal it's up to you.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Srikanth Garu. There was a small little gap of maybe disturbance in the line.
Can I hear you?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I have just another couple of sentences to say if you with the permission, if time permits.
Sure. Please go on. Please go on.
I think again he paused him.
Yeah, I think again he paused.
Yeah. You're pausing, Srikanthji.
There is an interruption.
Hello. Yeah, there is an interruption. Hello.
Yeah, I think maybe we should go to sleep maybe and come back.
Yeah. Srikanth Garu, anyway, we'll discuss after this is over. I think we'll have a chance to continue. Now, next is our next panelist is Sridevi Devi Reddy. And let me share something with you all. We've been colleagues in Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. She's a go-getter. She understands students extremely well because she comes with a background of education as a business and education as a service, both. And Sridevi Reddy is very articulate, and she's one of the model women entrepreneurs we can talk about. She's the next gen entrepreneur, which is extremely important. So, I'd like to have Sridevi to share her own thoughts about, what does it mean to become a woman entrepreneur? I mean, I'm not talking in general terms. I'm talking about, with family support, without family support, with compulsion to handle, your domestic responsibilities as a mother, and at the same time, that drive in you to achieve success. Now, what makes you to be an entrepreneur, and what drives you?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. The motivation to do something meaningful, the motivation to be part of a change, the motivation to be the change, which is actually going to create an impact, keeps you going. This is a simple philosophy I have. In the year 2000, Purna Garu will resonate with this. I turned an entrepreneur at the age of 26 with no support from family, no business acumen whatsoever. In those days, we didn't have the startup lessons. We didn't have any literature. Just I wanted to make a change. So I started a company to give ICT education to women specifically. So there was something called Jayaprada Charitable Trust as well. We tied up with them. We wanted to tie up with a few more charitable institutions who were ready to fund ICT education for college-going girls as well as women, who in turn will become self-employed. So accounting software, MS Office, a lot of other programs we used to teach and then place them. This used to be our business model, and with zero business acumen. 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, it was an uphill task. We did make some money, but somehow, whether it's the family pressure or I had a very small baby then, my daughter was pretty young. She was 3, I guess, at that point. So I couldn't take it and I had to sell my business to somebody. So In those days, I used to consider myself a failed entrepreneur. But today, if you look back after 21 years, I personally think I learned a lot from that experience. And that is why even today, whatever I am, those lessons are still with me. No startup school, no MBA degree will give you experience of how to run a business. Even today, wherever I am, whichever organization I'm part of, whether even I'm in the branch committee of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce or an executive council member of FABA or anywhere, I consider everything from when a task is taken, I consider it, I see it like an entrepreneur. How do we go about accomplishing this task? What is the impact it is going to create? I somehow cannot alienate impact from business. For me, business is always something that gives impact. Obviously, you do need to make profits, but that profits do come along with impact. So when I'm the founding CEO of SR Innovation Exchange, which is the first of a kind incubator in Warangal. Everybody said, why do you want to do it in a tier 3 city like Warangal, which doesn't even have an airport, which doesn't have any other infrastructure, it doesn't have a startup ecosystem. So today, after 3.5 years of this journey, after a national award and various other recognitions, you feel elated that you have created impact to 46 startup founders in these 3 years. You were able to impact 282 innovators in the same 3 years. You were able to touch base about student innovators as well as women innovators. So these things give you a high. So I personally think the word impact gives me a high and keeps me motivated. Every day I wake up with a lot of enthusiasm. You called me bubbly, right? So this bubbliness is the hope that I can create impact today. That's it, sir.
Ram Kumar garu, నేను moderate చేస్తాను మీరు రాకపోతే.
So I mean, we can always take the other questions later.
Anyway, I think, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Which I was trying to make a point is like in any business, like entrepreneur, many of the entrepreneur students are here who are willing to start their business now. First, I said it's knowledge, and second is the hard work. Anybody, but most important thing is like, underline this: know your enemy. Know your enemy is very, very important. The moment you get into that, first of all, you will understand the strategies. You must be, as Sridevi Garu said, what they don't teach in Harvard. I read a book there. What they don't teach in your, that means what they don't teach in your, Ramkumar Garu, sorry, I was trying to, I continued where I left with your permission. So anyway, so what they don't teach in Harvard is like what they don't teach academically. So that all comes out with experience. So before even you can venture into any kind of business, or if you're already ventured into business, it's always good to know about the strategies of your opponent, of your business. So because it's the competitive world you're getting into. So if you're doing anything new also, it will not sell. How will it sell? Like if it is something new, which is totally different from which is not existing, then yes, even then it will take time because people should believe it. So for that, you should also have a strategy. Unless, for example, if you're inventing another mobile phone is not a great thing, but you're going to tie up with Tata's or some good brand, it starts selling. So initially you launch it, you see to it, your production is done, your product is successful. Then you can come out and start it on your own. This is how most of things done. And there's something called small example like most of the automobile field, they get into this what is called OEM, original equipment manufacturers. That OEM, they supply to all the brands. Once that's really clicked and start working, many of the people came out and started on their own. If you talk about Mahindra, talk about Hero and all this thing, if you look back and see this is what it is. So you try to get the knowledge how a product should be launched if it is a new one. If it is already existing one, learn what is the value addition you're going to make. So these are the small things which we too learned while growing, and we were successful in doing that. But as Purna Garu was saying, and Sridevi and all of that, Rama Garu, all of them, one thing is integrity and honesty. These are the two major things which would make your business successful, not money. Money would certainly come in any way as long as you're doing a business. But these two things, honesty and integrity, these two things are very, very. Thank you, Ram.
Yeah. Now let's get into a discussion. See, I think, let's focus on the dilemma which a new budding entrepreneur or want to be entrepreneur has today, either in an education institution or a research scholar or somebody who is working and who would like to move into entrepreneurship. The most important, requirement they have is mentorship. Now, unless you have a good mentor, it is very difficult to navigate in this unknown territory called entrepreneurship. And how much of importance was mentorship in your own growth, as an entrepreneur? Purnagar.
In my case, not much, sir, frankly. But I know the importance of the mentor program because I know Sridevi can agree with me because she was the executive director of the TAI, and TAI has a very, very big program, mentor program, and it's keep growing. And definitely the mentor program is very crucial for any, especially for young entrepreneurs. It gives, first of all, when you sit away with a mentor, he or she can validate your idea by discussing or by brainstorming so many things with their experience. And the second thing is they also can direct you to have financial access. That's a major part of any business startup, and they can provide you enough resources where you can get your money and where you can get some funding from angel groups. And also the other crucial part of mentoring is marketing. And so all these things, I think the mentors with their experience definitely will guide you quite well. And the TAI, the Indus Entrepreneurs, organizes a couple of sessions every year for mentor sessions, and actually a lot of charter members will offer themselves to be mentors so that they can help the starting entrepreneurs to grow faster. And also one more important thing is, I think the other two things, financing and marketing apart, I think first of all, your idea should be validated. I think by discussing with them, I think that it will be a good help.
Yeah. Sridevi, this is a very known territory for you. And I'm sure you must have mentored a few entrepreneurs. And what do you think are the most crucial aspects of mentorship which will make or break a startup or a young budding entrepreneur?
Yeah, thank you, sir. So as when I was an entrepreneur, we didn't have these networks for mentoring. So I understand the importance. That's the reason I volunteered my time to Cherry Blair Foundation and Atal Innovation Mission, and I keep doing a lot of other such things. The crucial thing about mentorship is being frank, giving realistic feedback to the mentee, even if the mentee is not going to like it. I have observed many a time that mentors always try to be diplomatic or be sweet or not be forthright about their feedback. Like, this business is not going to work. We need to do a lot of research, primary as well as secondary, and talk to certain people in the industry. Then only we need to even think of starting this. It's such a simple sentence. But I heard I saw many mentors not being able to communicate this particular sentence. And they just go about, after the business is started, they try to navigate how to survive this, keep this business afloat, which is not needed. I personally think clarity of thought from the mentee is very important, and forthrightness and positive feedback, immediate feedback in a positive way is the need of the hour from the mentor. This is my take on things.
And Srikanji, now coming back to you, I promised you that I will ask you difficult questions, and this is one going your way. Now, you tell me, how should an young entrepreneur take to a mentor telling him that it's not a good idea? If he says, look, this is not a good idea, and whatever your passion may be, you're wearing the shoe on the wrong, you're wearing the shoe on the wrong leg, just keep away. Now, if somebody tells like this, since you have gone through hardships, before being successful, how do you think a young entrepreneur should take such kind of an advice, a negative advice?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, yesterday and today morning, you promised that you'll ask me a very easy question. Then you're asking this kind of questions, It's a very wrong mentorship, Mr. Ramkumar. You're also a mentor.
I don't know how you believed Ramkumar here when he said he was going to ask.
This is a very, very important thing anybody we should do. I would like to start from the way that the previous question which you asked our Guru Garu, Purna Garu, and our dear friend Sridevi. Like, what is this mentorship? It's like, all of us know Guru Leni Vidya Vyardhamanta. So it's like, giving a direction, and having a mentor is very, very important. So the moment you have this mentor, the moment he understands your product or your concept, whatever, he first of all helps you in placing it in the right place. Placement of your concept or product is very, very important. Only then it sells. So this is it. This is the answer to your second question as well. So the moment anybody says, if your product does not sell, your concept does not, so you need to rework on it. So it depends upon me, whom I'm approaching. Suppose I'm doing some, for example, if you're in the midst of all the students, I'm learning commerce. If you can go and ask a physics teacher about commerce, so it's like, doing physics in BCom. So identifying a right mentor is also a challenge. That is what is called business intelligence. And one more thing, suppose I want to approach Mr. Purna Garu. First of all, I need to understand who is Mr. Purna Garu, what is his experience, whether he's done successful business as far as my product is concerned now, or I should approach Mr. Ramkumar, what is his background? So this kind of business acumen should be there with whoever is starting for any kind of entrepreneurship. So first of all, you understand the business and you want to get yourself placed and rightly place your product. Understand your mentor also. First of all, when the moment you understand your mentor, that means a very knowledgeable person. A kind of respect would build up between you. A relationship will build up between you and your mentorship. That is what you call mentorship. So certainly the mentor, if he feels, okay, my experience in the past, I'm from the automobile field. This is how the life cycle 360 degrees of automobile field, this is what it is. And the world scenario is so-and-so, the regional scenario is so-and-so. Now tell me where you want to place your product. I'm telling you, this particular product cannot be placed here because of these reasons. Only because a person is saying, no, you don't do it, no, you're not supposed to believe. Let him justify if he's saying yes. Let him justify if he's saying no. These are the two aspects anybody should learn. In our case also, we were approached from fund companies. When we projected our projects, they said, no, it does not sell, and no, this kind of commercial building will not sell. So we kept quiet and we went to another second, but their rate of interest was good, but he believed as a concept. We too believed, and within no time, we constructed the building and we delivered. So what is happening here? The trust factor and the knowledge factor. Because first of all, I was very confident about my own product, and I was very confident where it sells and how it sells, whom to sell it. I went for some purpose of asking a guidance. One guide was not comfortable, another guide was comfortable, it was true. So once again, it depends upon you whom you're selecting as your guide. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and to any one of you, the panelists, I have a query for you. Were there any instances in your life where you have seen somebody whom you know, whom you have mentored, or who is working with you, whom you didn't expect to succeed, but really succeeded, much against your own assessment? Can you give a few instances like that?
Sir, before
you didn't expect that he would succeed, but then he excelled.
So quickly, before we go to that, I think both Srikanth and Sridevi raised very, very good points. And first of all, like Srikanth said, you should not, mentor doesn't, no mentor knows everything. There is no doubt about it. If someone comes to me asking me about whether they should build a commercial building in Gachibowli, and they want some mentorship from me, the first thing I said, okay, I don't know anything. I should direct to the right mentor. So I should say, please go and meet Srikanth and he will tell you the right information about it. And I can't keep telling whether it's good or bad to build a building in Gachibowli area in Hyderabad. So I think that is what the mentor should have. And like Sridevi said, you should not pamper the mentee. I mean, if the mentor, if he thinks it is wrong, but simply you shouldn't say, you should not do this, you should not. You should justify, the mentor should justify his answer, why he is telling it. Why, suppose if someone wants to start a e-commerce, and they should tell why, how they are better than Amazon, how they are better than Flipkart, how they don't have to be better than Amazon or Flipkart, but they have to distinguish themselves from them. Why I should go, why someone should come to you by ditching Amazon and Flipkart. So those are the things they have to tell the mentee. Why you should enter into that.
Critical evaluation is what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Critical evaluation.
They have, the mentor should be able to explain to the mentee why he thinks what he says. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Now, coming back to the question which I've raised, any surprises from anybody whom you've known?
I don't know about the mentorship part of it, sir. Suppose, see, I told you that we were in some business and people used to come. There were candidates, couple of candidates I rejected to take them to the US, and I told them that you don't fit to be in the US. And a couple of them, I mean, several people failed, but a couple of them managed to get into the one is because my partner said we have an obligation and we took him there, and the other person went through some other company, and they were phenomenal success. And so those, I thought they were not able to even speak 2 lines of English when I interviewed them, but somehow they managed. And of course I'm sure they were very determined people, which I failed to analyze when I interviewed them. So, but one came through us only, and now we are recommending people to join his company. So he went to that position, which is good. And the second person came through another company, who is a girl, and she was also phenomenally successful. So, and I don't know whether, I mean, I couldn't gauge those people. That's my experience.
Very fantastic. Do you have any such kind of inspiring stories, Sridevi?
We come across very such stories, sir, and through sheer hard work and determination, people combat. I'll give you one such example. All of you know Green Gold Animation, Chota Beam company. So Rajiv Chilka, Srinivas Chilkalpudi are the founders of that company. So when they started it way back, they were incurring real losses. They were pumping in money. In those days, content creation, cartoons creation was even today, it is a capital intensive business, and not VCs and other people were not funding it. They were bootstrapped. They were going really bleeding. At that point, many people in Thai network in US and other people said, it's not possible. Disneys of the world have dominated the market. You guys don't have a chance. So shut down. So I saw this guy go through that point. Then they pivoted and did a lot of other things. Today, they're one of the most successful animation companies of the world. They are competing with Disneys of the world. Netflix has their successful shows. So sheer hard work and little bit of pivoting, and I think luck also plays a part. So we can see them. I'm really proud of them, that this is a story which all of us can relate to.
Very true, Sridevi. Very, very true. Srikanth, would you like to share any such kind of an experience?
Yeah, I have a chain actually. To be very frank with you, when I started my IT company and came out and then showed them the way before I could really wind up the company. So that was a lot of success stories. When people want to stay as employees, then I told them this is what the factors are that would make them a good business people. They had that business acumen in them. So a couple of people are settled in the US, couple of people settled in Singapore, and in the present field of infra division, I specifically told one person that not to venture into business, but he is a very good, very sincere person, hardworking, and I asked him to stay back as an employee with us, and we would take care. But he over excitement and I don't know. I'll not say a wrong mentorship about it, very wrong decision, because it's totally failing as far as financial discipline is concerned. He never had a financial discipline. Even in our case, when he was working with us, he was earning say around a lakh of rupees. You can see his expenditure is more than a lakh. It's not like he was stealing or doing something, but he used to borrow and do something. And I said, this is not a right thing, even if you get it a businessman. A businessman, if he has a lakh of rupees, he should think about how to multiply it and make it a 10 lakhs or 100 lakhs. That's what a businessman should do. And this guy, in spite of telling me, costing his father also, he got into, and today I'm very sorry to say, is a very, very bad condition. It's not that he didn't listen to me, but certain factors are there where he should, but he asked me for a suggestion before even venturing into business. That is the reason I'm telling why he is, there are failure stories as well. So people who got successful also. So I systematically guide people. First of all, I would look at their only people I interacted a long time. I suggest it's not that only because somebody across the table come and ask me, I don't suggest them. Unless and the people know them for quite some time, observe them for quite some time. Only then I take up the role of mentorship, because in this world, most easiest thing and dangerous thing is giving advices. And free also, no tax for that. Horribly. Which anyhow, let me not
Please
get
don't
into
say it too loud. Modi will impose GST.
Oh, let me not get into it. These are the worst things. But as far as I'm concerned, if anybody asks me, I think if unless and they know that person thoroughly, I don't venture into getting in this role of mentor. It's not good. Having said that, there are a small time business also which I personally finance and help them, and are successful. So I would I'm really proud of those people, the way they put in. And after some time, after 4 or 5 years, they came back and returned my money. I didn't lend them as a loan, but as a small time entrepreneur, I helped them. Now they're really doing wonderful. So that is what is called mentorship. If you want, if you have thorough knowledge, and if you handhold them for some time, as long as they can walk, yes, leave them, they'll start running. That is what I look at mentorship. I'm very happy. I take the pride of being mentors to so many successful business owners and people also.
That's great. See, I'll just relate a small little story which I read recently. I believe Miss Sangeeta Reddy of the daughter of Dr. Pratap Reddy, I believe she wanted to join medicine and become a doctor. And she walked up to her father and he says, look, I want to study medicine. I want to become a doctor. I want to save a lot of lives. I believe an entrepreneur, Dr. Pratap Reddy is, and the first gen entrepreneur, he turned around her and said, do you want to save just a few lives as a doctor, or do you want to save larger number of lives by being the owner of a hospital? And then she found a bigger role that she can play of learning about a hospital management rather than merely being a doctor. And that's how, in fact, the whole concept of Apollo Hospitals, has taken shape. And similarly, there are a lot of stories where the capacity of an individual to swallow, chew, and and make strength out of it, I think is best left to the individual concerned. It is both the external and the internal environments of a person's mind that will make him to be extremely strong. So there is no such kind of formula, nor are there any algorithms which says that, oh, he or she will be successful or he or she will be a failure. It is a question of making the right recipe for yourself. What is good for you really works for you. I think, with these kind of comments, I would like to leave the floor open to anybody else, including Vijay Garu, who's extremely successful, or anybody else from amongst us would like to give the last few words. Now, since it's 5:30 and you'll have put up with this particular meeting from 2 o'clock, I'm sure that obviously it is very, very invigorating. Otherwise, you would not have had as many participants being present even right now. As we are closing, we have over 50 people with us, and I think it's a wonderful show. Thanks to IACC and all the leaders of IACC, and we look forward to a great association with SPMVV, where we must develop a few entrepreneurs from SPMVV. And over to you, Mr. Surya Kumar and Dr. Vijay.
Ram Kumar garu, permission I have to offer you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See,
no, 1 minute, sir. Vijay garu is a Vijay garu.
I just have one question. I know that you're all very independently, established entrepreneurs. But one thing I would like to say from your own, discussion, I think a formal training and the mentorship, I think, are essential. That is why we kept this topic, entrepreneurship education at universities. So I just want to say that, do you agree that, a formal training is essential or not? Just
absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. It only strengthens one's, inner capabilities by giving it a structure, giving it a shape, giving it a meaning. In normal colloquial parlance, we call it a meat and muscle. Your thought gets more meat and muscle if you are educated. Educated means, to go to the theoretical aspect of business. That's my view.
Yeah, Ram Kumar garu, with your permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to tell the same thing. Like to the prestigious university like SVMS, like we are ready to come and give guidance, mentorship, and give lectures at your colleges also. We are ready to do. We volunteer to do that. I'm ready to volunteer. I keep going to many colleges here. Especially, I'm also advisor at Telangana State Council of Higher Education, where we advise on the incubation parts. So we'll be more than happy to come and share our thoughts and experience with the students.
Thank you, sir. And Vijay garu, in fact, you were to say something. I'm sorry, sir.
Thank you so much.
Can I have a word, please?
Yeah. She's our CEO, Professor Kalarani. Bionist.
Very good evening, sir.
She just joined as a CEO yesterday.
Sir, Bonan, sir, I'm very happy to see you again. I remember having your talks on different platforms of our university. So I am Professor Kalarani, retired professor of biotechnology, Mahila University, recently retired and got deputed as a CEO for our Bionest facility, sponsored by Department of Biotechnology in New Delhi, sir, which is being called as Women Biotech Incubation Facility. It is actually meant for promoting entrepreneurship among students, faculty, as well the rural public women in different sectors like life sciences, product production, nutraceuticals, or food biotechnology, various life science related and pharma important products. Great. Along with training the students for promoting their skills, which facilitate them to have entrepreneurship as their career. And I think I'm very fortunate to have this platform, being here, listening to the young entrepreneurs and the experienced personnel like you all. I've been listening from the morning and really amazed to know so many things. I'm relatively new to this role, so it will be very useful for me.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful sharing this platform again with both of you again.
Yes.
Now, Vijay garu, you had to say something, sir.
And I wanted
one minute. Let's listen to Vijay garu and then we can
Sure.
The last 2 years, this is the longest session actually we attended.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your concern about our university and our students and
everybody actively, I think, passionately participated in this. Yes, I want to mention 2 points for the budding entrepreneurs. Failure also is an experience. Don't be actually worried about your failure unless you begin somewhere, because there is no success formula. Failure also is an experience. Actually, don't be afraid of the failure. Be confident about what you want to do. In addition to the general actually qualities, what you are learning, what you also need is a street smartness. if you find actually, if you see the students coming out of government college, government schools, and students coming from the so-called sophisticated convents or something, the students who are coming up from government schools are performing well in any environment. So in addition, what you learn in the college, you also need to have smartness. The other important thing is you should be more focused on your working capital requirements. That is where actually the whole Indian business system is failure. We are unable to actually quantify our working capital requirement. With some idea, we will assume my project actually will start giving me returns in the first year, by end of first year. No, we have to plan at least for 2-3 years working capital requirement. Then only any business actually will be a successful business. Most of the companies, most of the banks also, I think that is another lacuna in our banking system. They will not fund for the working capital. They will give down loan and all everything. Working capital they will not give. So plan for additional working capital so that your business will survive and sustain for a minimum 3 years time. Thank you.
I want to have an appeal, sir.
Yeah.
If I'm not taking too long. Only as I observed, we have 2 milestones to be vital in the promotion of this entrepreneurship, sir. Number 1, taking from ideation to the proof of concept side. Now the seed fund may help to certain extent, but still it is a really challenge task to have funding for that. The other one is to get it to the market either in the early phase or in the later phase. So in these 2 phases, we need your guidance and help throughout our practices, sir. So that is my request, sir. So to all the panelists.
Madam, we already mentioned that you identify the best 5 proposals from your organization to begin with. We will share among our members and see actually if anybody is coming, we will try to help.
Sure, thank you.
With our IACC members. So we will try to actually connect whoever is interested.
Answer to Kalarani Garu's question is, ma'am, first thing, I am part of Federation of Asian Biotech Associations. So I'm a science graduate with a decent knowledge about biotechnology. So in biotechnology, as your incubator is going to focus on biotechnology, I'm just giving you an update. As of now, at this stage, we need not worry about go-to-market strategy or how to take our innovations to the market, because the gestation period for any biotechnology-related idea to actually become a prototype and then get all the approvals from the concerned organizations and then go to the market is pretty long. So I personally would suggest you to mentor your innovators in idea to prototype, or first idea validation, then idea to prototype, then provide them all the mentoring and other infrastructural support you need. As BIRAC has sponsored you, I'm sure all the infrastructure will get in place in the next 6 months. Getting all that in place and keep the ball rolling will be of primary importance for you for the next 2-3 years. I can foresee that.
Thank you, madam. Actually, as you said, we are ready with the infrastructure, ready to go. Only thing is getting incubators and startup fund.
As Vijay has said, let's think in terms of an institutional relationship that we can look at from, and see how we can take this further.
Thank you, sir.
All the best, MD.
Thank you very much. And Vijayalakshmi Garu, if somebody can give a vote of thanks.
Yeah. One question.
Oh, Usha.
I
think last question
out of enthusiasm as a placement officer and career counseling cell coordinator. So I just requesting, I'm not asking for a job for my daughter and then son, as Purna sir said. I'm just asking for the employees, employment opportunities for all the students of Mahila University, sir. So if there are any opportunities, so there are many students, they want to become employee based on their family background and the need, and some of them, they can become entrepreneurs. So I just, it's my appeal to the members of panel. if there are any opportunities. So we have 6,000 students, both engineering, life sciences, and social sciences. And there is any drive to be conducted, please think about the students of SPMVV. And we are, as Srikanth sir told, so we can also have more orientation and awareness programs to the students of the Mahila University, sir. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you very much, all the panelists and even the morning speakers. You all spoken with a lot of passion and empathy with our students. So I really appreciate that, and thank you. And I request Surya Kumar Garu to propose a vote of thanks officially from SPMVV.
Shika.
Good evening, everyone. I think thank you very much again for giving the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks. It's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. And I like the last statement told by Vijay Sai Garu that the failures are also very important. So I remembered my ex-boss. I was working as head of R&D, Dr. Reddy Labs. So Reddy Labs CEO, Dr. J.V. Prasad used to say to celebrate failures. So we used to have some failures during product development and all that. And then we were very depressed. And he used to say, you celebrate it, because so that you don't repeat this mistake again. So there's a lot of learning in your failure also. And this will help us, this R&D, what you have failed, will definitely help us in some other product. So he said, you celebrate so that you don't feel depressed. And there is some learning out of that. So I think I remember the thanks, Vijay Sai Garu, for that. And then it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks to all the audience here. So I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam, for having taken the time to give the inaugural address and for her continuous support in conducting such wonderful programs and for her focus on encouraging innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurship on our campus. And then I would like to thank first the Ram Kumar Garu, who is the pillar behind this program. So I think initially, I think Vijayalakshmi Madam spoke to him, and then he was very enthusiastic, and the way he connected so many speakers, and not only they're not just speakers, they're all top entrepreneurs. And then even though they're top entrepreneurs, I can see their passion because they are sitting here right from 2 o'clock. I can understand 4 hours of their time sitting with that too for a university discussion, discussion from university.
And
really appreciate.
Sir, our national president, the national president of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce was present here throughout the session. And
yes,
we are
that's
really
what I'm just. Yeah, so that's what I'm just. We are very much thankful to first you, sir, for connecting all the people here and for making this session grand success. Then I thank Purnachandra Rao Garu for national president of Indian Chamber of Commerce for having. He was there for all the 4 hours. I have seen Srikanth Badi Garu, Sridevi Garu, and all that. Thank you so much, sir. I think, and all of you have offered an open platform to mentor us. I think definitely, as told, we have 2 or 3 incubators in our university, and we are all looking for something. And our incubator being little ahead of we have some innovative ideas and all that. So we are struggling for some seed funding and all trying to apply. I think, and for mentorship also. And then now these days, the government agencies, they're asking, who are all your mentors? Please indicate. I think in this platform, I'd like to request you that we'll try to make use of your name and say from the members from the IACC, we are our mentors. If you agree, if all of you agree, we'll just maybe names we don't write, but at least we have mentors from IACC. I think all the top entrepreneurs are there. We will try to make use of this platform. And just like thank you, sir. You already gave a thumbs up. I'll be happy if others also give their thumbs up so that we'll write the members from IACC are our mentors. I think that will really give a boost to whatever applications you write today because they are really looking forward. Because I worked for 30 years in the pharma industry. I was from the pharma industry. I was head of Dr. Reddy Labs, Lupin, and then biologically manufacturing head. And Orchid Pharma was also the total manufacturing plant head. I just moved here, and then I was a fortunate associate with this university also, which focuses on innovation, all that. So having some industry contacts, and I'm so happy to be associated with all of you. I think we'll definitely take the open offer given by all of you to take help from you as mentors and try to take for either mentors for guiding, networking, or for some funding, whatever opportunities. I also take this platform to thank both the speakers, Rama Bijapurkar Garu and then Kavita Shinoy. They gave a wonderful lecture today, very thought-provoking, and to ensure that they gave new dimensions for entrepreneurship and new ideas for entrepreneurship. That's what Kavita Shinoy also she spoke. And then again, I thank all the panel members because it's very wonderful, so nice of you to spare your time. And then we had a wonderful discussion and all the thought-provoking questions which are put forward by Ram Kumar Garu. Thank you, Ram Kumar Garu, Ponchantarao Garu, Sridevi Madam, and Vijay Sai Garu, and then Srikant Badi Garu, all of them. And I final thank Professor Vijay Lakshmi Garu. Thank you very much, Madam, for having taken a wonderful initiative. And then all the organizing members, Umadevi Madam, Usha Madam, and all the faculty members of the university, the people who helped in the networking, and then who are making, and all the participants, most important, who made this session wonderful. Not only wonderful is a very small word. We had a great session today. And then we thank our registrar, Mamta Madam, also for her continuous support for giving the opening remarks along with Vijay Sai Garu. Thank you so much, and then we look forward
on behalf of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Anvesh Dasari will propose a vote of thanks. Anvesh?
Thank you, sir. I, on behalf of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, and on my behalf, I thank all the esteemed speakers of today's session, Ms. Rama Bijapur Garu and Ms. Kavita Shenoy Garu, for accepting our invitation and sparing their valuable time. They have given very thought-provoking insights on entrepreneurship, how to handle failures, and a lot of good points on that. I also thank Vice Chancellor Garu of Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalayam for inaugural session. I also thank esteemed learned academicians of university, Professor Jamuna Davur Garu, Professor M. Mamata Garu, and P. Vijay Lakshmi Garu, and Dr. J. Suryakumar Garu for their informative and educative addresses. Now I also thank our National President, Mr. S. Purnachandrao Garu. As earlier said, he has spent complete 2 hours in spending his valuable time. And also thank Srikant Garu, Sridevi ma'am for interacting with all the students and all the faculty members. I thank our chairman, Vijay Sai Meka Garu, and Vice Chairman Ram Kumar Garu for having this wonderful session which is being initiated. And more than 90 students have attended this session today. And I think it was very fruitful, and even it was a lot of learning to all of us as well, like how to improve ourselves and get motivated. So thanks a lot, sir. Thanks for having this great initiative. Last but not the least, I also thank all the students for sparing your time, and I hope you have learned a good session which is worth having. Thank you.
I just want to add only there are about 200 students who are listening to the speakers on YouTube. Thank you.
Yeah, sir.
And they really get benefit. I would like to say that. Thank you.
You have asked for placement.
Sir.
I think you can catch hold of Anvesh. He can help you. He is from Vijayawada. He is running a company.
Okay, sir. Anvesh Dasari, sir.
Electronics.
Electronics from Vijayawada.
Okay. Thank you. My sincere request to Anvesh Dasari regarding the placement drive. Hope you are hearing this.
Sure, ma'am. Yeah.
Sir, you please think about internships also, sir. Internships and then training program for the students.
Anvesh, Father Ramakrishna Garu is one of the very senior entrepreneur in those days actually.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
sir.
Yeah, ma'am. We will. Our HR will connect, and we will try to look after internships as well as some campus placements and all that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Because Usha, more than a teacher or researcher, she faces challenges as a placement officer. So that is why she's putting everything on this platform. Thank you for understanding. Thank you.
I've been seeing Dr. Usha's role for the last 4 years.
Yes, sir. This is a challenge for me during COVID time, sir. So this is a really challenge, and somehow I'm progressing even during COVID. So that's a positive side.
Yeah, there should be some takeaway, madam. For every program, there should be some takeaway.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
Vijay Sai Garu, thank you so much andi మీరు జాయిన్ అయ్యి ఇంత టైం స్పెండ్ చేసినట్లు. అలాగే పూర్ణచంద్ర గారు రామ్ కుమార్ గారు చెప్పినప్పుడు ఐ వాజ్ సర్ప్రైజ్డ్ అన్నమాట యాక్చువల్ గా ఇలా వస్తున్నారని చెప్పని. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ అండి. అండ్ శ్రీకాంత్ గారు ఎంథూజియాజం ఐ కుడ్ సీ. పిల్లలు అక్కడ 2 క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుగుతుంటే ఈ ఆన్సర్ ఇచ్చేస్తూ వచ్చారన్నమాట చాట్ లో. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్. We'll close the session for today.
Yeah, it's really inspiration and then a role model to all the budding students, sir. So definitely,
thank you.
It's a wonderful session.
Thank you, Sridevi garu.
Thank you, Sridevi.
The faculty also, they are the role models.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm closing the session. Okay.
Please. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll be in touch with you also.
Sure, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.